Letterboxd. It's taken the movie world by storm since it was founded 13 years ago. Let's break down the 100 most popular movies on Letterboxd. We have everything from blockbusters from Marvel and Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, plus Fight Club, Parasite, films from all over the world. But let's see what the most watched are.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost Podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. And today we're doing a very special episode about our favorite movie app, Letterboxd. And what are the most popular movies on the app? First of all, it's amazing to me. I only discovered what Letterboxd was, 3 years ago?
I'd heard of it, rumblings here and there. I was always hesitant about it, and I was very late to the game on Letterboxd.
Same. I think we made our Letterboxd 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer ago, but you operated it, and then I took it over like a year and a half ago.
Because I was never logging anything.
Yeah, you were never logging, and then you made your own private, your own personal one. But it's. I wish I had started using it years ago because I enjoy it. I think it's a great place and a great community for film lovers to connect and share their love for films, share their personal taste, and also it is probably the best place to discover new films, whether it be classics or foreign films or just maybe little indies that you've never heard of in popular culture. It's really become a safe haven for movie lovers, and we love the app. This is why we do like a series of Letterboxd episodes about once a month, because it's just a really great place for film lovers and the film community to grow and flourish. Now, what are the 100 most popular movies? This isn't the highest rated movies. This is just the most logged, the most watched movies. Doesn't mean they're the most watched movies in the world ever. For users of the app, these are the top 100 popular movies.
Now, we're going to get a lot of blockbusters on here. A lot of Marvel, yes, Harry Potter, big films, as well as plenty of small films and a ton of animated films.
Yeah, there's Scorsese, Damien Chazelle's on here. We get a lot of Tarantino, obviously. Yeah, there's some great stuff on here. David Fincher. Oh my God. This list is really good. Some of these are my favorite movies of all time. Now, before we get into the Letterboxd most popular movies of all time, we're doing a movie poster giveaway in this episode. So if you want to enter for a chance to win a free movie poster from our friends at movieposters.com, all you have to do is make a comment in the YouTube version of this episode. So go to our YouTube, find the Letterboxd most popular movies of all time, and make any comment in that episode that will enter you into a chance to win a free movie poster from movieposters.com. We're going to pick a winner in 1 week's time, so enter, and good luck, everybody.
I'm really looking forward to this, and we haven't looked at the list
at all.
And so we're just going to pop open the 100 most popular, most watched movies on Letterboxd, starting at number 100, we have from Marvel, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, all the way back in 2014, directed by the Russo brothers. That makes you feel old. 10 years ago, the coolest movie, I think, in the MCU came out. And really,
Guardians.
Winter Soldier's pretty cool, too.
Winter Soldier's cool, yeah.
Winter Soldier's
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Pretty cool. They're both cool.
It's cool to you.
Kind of changed the tone.
Yeah.
This is a tone changer for the MCU, and it's sort of been heading in the direction that Winter Soldier set it up for a while, until, obviously, Endgame. But I think Winter Soldier brought something new in terms of the aesthetic and the action, plus original music that really felt like its own identity versus a lot of the Marvel movies sounding very similar outside of classic rock songs in Iron Man films. But Winter Soldier, I think, from Henry Jackman, got a really cool score in there. Steve Rogers became a badass, became really charismatic and fun for modern audiences versus just being an old man inside a young body. And I like that part about Steve Rogers, how much he changed in this film.
It was a big step up from the first Cap, for sure. And it's so successful and so well-liked that obviously with the new Captain America, they're trying to harken back to what they did with this film. It looks like, tonally at least. And you're absolutely right. Henry Jackman's music was so fresh for the MCU. He brought in some really cool elements, that great guitar, cool electronic music. The Winter Soldier riff, that's one of the best themes in the MCU, I think, and it was so much fun. I used to work out to it all the time. I know you did too.
You work out? Couldn't tell.
Sometimes. All right, let's get into number 99 with a film I have not seen. I have not seen this. I don't know if you have. Tangled.
I've seen bits and pieces.
Which is the Rapunzel story made by, is this Disney? Yeah, Disney. Disney's Tangled. I've never seen this. 2010. What's its rating? A 4.0 rating. All right, it must be good. And this stars a bunch of actors. Mandy Moore, Zachary Levi,
Like all
Donna Murphy.
movies.
Yeah, sorry, I've not seen this. Yeah, again, we need to look at this list. But yeah, it seems like a great family-friendly adaptation of a famous story. So,
Yes, but this isn't Pixar. It's Disney animation.
Disney animation.
That's something to point out with that.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, because they got Pixar in 2009,
Nabbed them.
but Tangled is not a Pixar verse.
It was probably well into production with Pixar.
Well,
I mean with Disney.
well into production with Disney.
Heavily in production.
Let's move on from the long-haired girl to Arrival at number 98. Are you kidding me? That's great.
Good stuff.
Arrival from Denis Villeneuve, an incredible science fiction film adapted from a novel of the same name, I believe. But Denis really...
Different name.
Different name.
Yeah.
Book of a different name, in case you didn't know. Denis really proved his chops in terms of, can I go from these really unique, interesting, small-budget thrillers, very personal stories, and can I expand my skill set and my way of storytelling into larger-scale filmmaking, larger-scale science fiction, makes Arrival, which leads to him getting Blade Runner 2049 and leads to Dune. And this was the movie I think that was probably one of the most important in his career because of how good it was, and the scope of it was massive. The aesthetic was so unique. The visuals of the heptapods. Patrice Vermette, his production designer on a lot of films, came up with great design elements for this film, and they work so well together, and they create really incredible-looking worlds together. And I think Arrival is just so well made. It's an incredible film that gets better and better every rewatch. Amy Adams somehow did not get an Oscar nomination for this performance because it might be the biggest snub of the century up there. She's that good in this movie, in my opinion. And it's a very emotional film with an incredible ending.
Yeah, this was like his first foray into his favorite genre of science fiction. And he basically cut his teeth with smaller films to work his way to eventually doing something like Dune Part 2, which is just by far the biggest thing he's ever done. And yeah, Arrival is a phenomenal movie. What else is a phenomenal movie is at number 97, we have the greatest Star Wars film ever made, The Empire Strikes Back. Oh yeah, baby. At number 97, it's pretty low. I mean, it could be
higher.
It's
I'm
pretty
surprised
high. I mean,
it's not like top 50.
it could be lower. I mean, we
That
always
shows
mix
you
it
how
up.
much Marvel, I think, has taken over Zeitgeist because
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back is number 97 on this list.
I expected that to be at least top 20 for real,
me
for
too.
sure. But I think the prequels might be lower. We'll see.
I bet you Revenge of the Sith on there for sure.
Oh, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. But Empire is my favorite Star Wars film. I think it's pitch perfect. The production, the cinematography, the story is all improved, and we built upon the world so many amazing ways. With George Lucas and Irvin Kershner and the entire team, it's just a wonderful science fiction film. In my opinion, just one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. Top 10 easily, and it's my favorite one to watch. My favorite one to revisit, and it's so much fun. And it has really a perfect breakneck pace that doesn't feel fast. It never feels slow. It's really just perfectly laid out as a story. And I think they, again, for people who saw it live in the 70s and then people who have see it for the first time who don't know much about Star Wars, one of, if not the greatest movie twist of all time. Imagine seeing that in theaters and watching that film and then the twist happening with Darth Vader and Luke.
Especially because you weren't inundated with theories and information on the internet or social media, and you just had to see Star Wars in theaters, and then you got some posters and some merchandise, and you like saw some magazines or books and whatnot. But it's such a different world.
Nobody saw that coming.
Plus, when it comes to American cinema in Hollywood in the 70s, this changed the world. It changed the world of cinema. Imagine, America has always been the center point for cinema, but it's grown so much. But movies like Star Wars have intrigued the entire planet, which is so fascinating.
Yeah. Great point, man.
Thanks. Number 96, we have from Francis Ford Coppola, The Godfather, the original, all the way back in 1972. Of course, this is one of the highest rated movies on Letterboxd, but when it comes to views and most popularity, it's number 96 on this list. Again, this isn't the best movies, it's just the most watched and the most logged for views.
We need to get more watches for The Godfather.
I think that what we're seeing now is how Letterboxd is showing its age in terms of the most people that use it as a demographic, in terms of probably being under 30 years old. I'm assuming takes up probably 80% of the people and the users of the app, if not more.
Well, I would say, it's definitely a younger audience than IMDb, for sure.
But at least they're still watching movies this. You're still going to the past and watching probably, arguably, the best movie ever made. The Godfather's in that conversation, whether you agree with it or not. You can't help but deny the skill, the artistry, and the superior storytelling of Francis Ford Coppola in his prime, making The Godfather in 1972 just a juggernaut of cinema.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic films in the history of the medium, and could be, in 100 years, still the best movie of all time.
The best. 2.3 million logs. So that ain't no joke.
That's not a joke.
It's a lot of people watched it.
Yeah.
A lot of people. All right, next up at number 95, we have Greta Gerwig's second film, Little Women. With
Little tiny little woman. Little teensy tiny little woman.
her fresh update on the classic tale was a winner for audiences and critics alike. Got a lot of success from the Oscars, a lot of box office, and overall, it was a really great period piece, great adaptation. Saoirse Ronan is a phenomenal lead, and a lot of great actors who are huge now. This was an early role for them, like Chalamet, like Florence Pugh, like Laura Dern.
Early role. Yeah, Laura Dern. No one knew who she was. Everyone forgot about that Oscar win.
Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep.
It's actually a silent M. It's Errol.
Errol Streep.
Errol Streep.
Okay, thank you. But no, Greta Gerwig's great. Little Women is phenomenal. It's a really fun adaptation. It's number 95 on Letterboxd's most popular.
Let's get to number 94, which we all know of as being the number one rated movie on IMDb for the last 15 years. The Shawshank Redemption from Frank Darabont, starring Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. This incredible story, which we all adore. We all love it so much. It's one of those movies that no one dislikes. The Shawshank Redemption, except for Jay Baruchel, and this is the end, because he doesn't like universally loved movies. It's the Shawshank Redemption. I mean, we've done episodes on it. We've talked about it so much. The number one rated movie on IMDb, which is probably for me the best source in terms of what people actually think about films and cinema, especially if it was made pre-2015 before review bombing for pros and cons.
Yeah, review bombing.
Before 1 in 10 star reviews became a tactic of action
of Redditors,
or fans of a franchise, or people who hate franchises.
YouTube commenters army.
This has still stood the test of time in that number one spot and may never be dethroned. Special movie, really magical, incredible, probably one of the best debut films ever from a director for feature-length films. No one ever talks about this as a debut, but it is.
We do.
We
you bet your ass we do.
We bring it up
every episode.
I can't.
Frank
believe
Darabont's first movie was Shawshank.
Absolutely insane.
I mean, it's an amazing movie, and when I was younger, because it had the top spot. When I was in my teens, I would go on IMDb. I was like, Shawshank Redemption's the number one movie over like The Godfather.
How could it be?
The Dark Knight and like all these amazing movies. But then you watch it a few times, then you watch it a few more times. That's a movie where, as the more times you've seen, I've seen it probably a dozen times now, and it just is a magical piece of cinema. And it is one of the greatest tales of humanity ever put on screen, I think. And it absolutely, even though, The Godfather's a better film, I think that Shawshank being the number one rated movie is great. I think it's a great pick for that.
Man, it's a movie I wish I can see in theaters, and hopefully, with re-releases being more popular, a movie I would love to experience in a cinema.
Yeah,
and I've seen it 20 times, not in a theater though.
Yeah, and even though what did it be, a Pulp Fiction or something
for IMDb
for an Oscar? Oh wait, no, Forrest Gump won over it.
Yeah,
it didn't win. That's right. That's what. But man, it's a special film. A special animated film is at number 93. And it's a film that I was late to the party on. And we actually watched Coraline because of a Patreon Godfather tier member who chose it for their movie review. And so we finally watched Coraline. This was last year. And I was floored by it. I thought it was so good, so creative, so artistic, a brilliant concept. Thank God they haven't made sequels. And it's just a wonderful, gothic, colorful fairy tale that has a lot of great themes for children and for parents to both take away from. I think that when you have a kids movie that isn't made just for the kids, but like the parents can take just as much, if not more, from the themes of the movie, that's a special thing when you can connect to both generations that watch it at the same time. And on top of that, it's a wonderful tale. I love Coraline. There's a reason why it is always re-released. It seems like
Twice this year.
Yeah, it made $11 million of box office this year on its re-releases. It's just like people love this movie. It's become like an absolute cult following, but it deserves all of the praise. It deserves all of the success and its cult status because it really is a one-of-a-kind tale.
You could argue that Henry Selick might go down as the best stop-motion director of all time.
Oh, for
once his
sure.
career's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this plus The Nightmare Before Christmas and several others. He's just an incredible filmmaker, and this is a delightful film.
Him and Nick Park from Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. I can't wait till that comes up. Number 92 on the most popular films logged on Letterboxd. We have from Ari Aster, sorry. I always say Oster.
You say you always.
Ari Aster.
There we go. We got it.
Hereditary, which I adore this movie. 2018. This is maybe the most terrified I've been in a movie theater in my life that I can remember in a long time. You know, especially the third act once things start really going down. Absolutely sensational filmmaking from a young director for really an incredible, large feature debut. He made a feature before this. Yeah. It wasn't theatrically released wide. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy movie about this family. It's nuts. But Hereditary was his big step up in terms of getting a big release theatrically A24 film. Still probably a top 3 A24 film for me.
They still use it in the marketing for trailers.
It's that
from
good.
The studio that brought you to Hereditary.
It's that good of a movie. I think it's going to be a timeless classic, even though it's only 6 years old. You know, I can see in 50 years this movie still being very popular. It's a contemporary Rosemary's Baby. Really great story. Awesome third act. Great twist. And just great filmmaking and disturbing imagery, but also tying it into great themes of grief and loss. And goodness, what a big splash he made in Hollywood with this film.
Also, I'm not sure if you've noticed the last few years, but a lot of horror filmmakers are copying Ari Aster, especially with the transition of a character or a room and not moving the camera, cutting from night to daytime.
Plus miniatures.
And it seems like a lot of people are pulling from what he did with this film.
I think his aesthetic and style from Hereditary for sure is something that's being mimicked and replicated like crazy in independent horror right now.
And also the upside down tree line, which he did in Midsommar, is being done over and over again.
Yeah, upside down imagery.
Yeah, so he's influential for new horror directors for sure, big time.
Not that he's the first to ever do things like that.
Yeah.
But he made that stuff popular.
And we're seeing a lot of people bash their heads against furniture.
It's having a lot. Toni Collette, man, what a performance.
All right, next up at number 91, we have the first Potter movie.
I'm assuming they're all on here.
I don't think all of them might be, but I think that
if this one's on here, they all got to be. I guess
the first one better be on here, but we'll see. We'll find out.
You're right. The first and second aren't loved by many people.
But they are by me. The first one.
And me.
The first one was my most watched.
I watched it on Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh, the first one?
Well, I watched Chamber of Secrets during Thanksgiving on the couch, and then half of it. Just waiting for everyone to come over. And then Sorcerer's Stone that night.
Yeah, so you had a feast, then you watched them having the feast in the Great Hall. Now, at number 91, it's not the first two, but Order of the Phoenix, number 5, is at number 91 on the most popular watches on Letterboxd. This, however, is it's a wonderful film. It's delightful. There's a lot of great highs in this movie. Sirius Black, Dumbledore versus Voldy, and, great villain. But it is still my lowest ranked Harry Potter film.
I think I would agree with that for me, too.
I understand why it's so watched.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's Harry Potter. And it has an average rating of 3.7. It's a 3.7 rating.
Despite
on
how
Letterboxd.
angry people get online, everyone loves Harry Potter except for 1%.
Yeah, a fraction of 1%.
Everyone loves Harry Potter.
And even though it's my lowest ranked Harry Potter, I adore it because it's Harry Potter and it's amazing. But I will say this is the weakest of all 8 films, but it's still great.
It's still great, though.
Still great.
The first one David Yates did, who still has been in charge of directing the Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts movies. So he set the tone, new aesthetic and everything.
Yes.
But, you got to rank them. You got to put this somewhere.
Got to put it somewhere.
Something's going to be at the bottom of the list. And we're, I think, at our first movie with the next one up that's not a critically acclaimed great film, but has a ton of watches. We have Don't Look Up from Adam McKay from 2021, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Leo DiCaprio, which has a ton of views, but it's only a 3.0 on Letterboxd. And I think it is even lower on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. This was not a terrific film, especially from McKay, an acclaimed director with great movies, and obviously starting with so many comedies, but then making great movies like The Big Short and Vice are awesome movies. Great filmmaker. Don't Look Up was definitely a bit of a step down, a bit too in your face, which I know people argue that's the point, but it's for people watching this for a film experience. I don't know many people that had a good time.
Yeah, I remember really not enjoying it while watching it, and they went too far. He just dialed it too much, and it became so meta and so over the top that you couldn't even take it seriously in any way, right, shape, or form. And that's the problem, because he's talking about important issues, but when you make it that ridiculous, the conversation ends. It doesn't even. There's no conversation then.
Yeah, I'd like to see how many people tuned out
while watching, because it was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Man, I did not like that movie. All right, next up at number 89, we have one of the stronger Marvel solo films, Doctor Strange, the first one from Scott Derrickson. I really like this movie. We watched this in theaters, and it was a really nice surprise.
But don't we watch in theaters?
Don't Look Up.
You got me. Got him.
Doctor Strange was really good. I have a blast at that film. I thought it was really cool. Great visual effects. It's not perfect, but I enjoyed the movie, and we loved Benedict because we were super fans of his from Sherlock. So we were on the Benedict train for a while. So when he got
that cheekbone train,
that deep voice, when he got the big role, we were so happy for him to be like, oh my God, now everybody's gonna know this guy.
Called him right away.
He congratulated him.
Benny.
He still hasn't answered.
Benny in the Doctor Strange.
I got the restraining order. But I think it was a great pick for Doctor Strange. He suited the character perfectly. I hope to see a lot more of him in the future. We'll definitely see him in the upcoming Secret Wars, and maybe in some of the Russo brothers' upcoming films. We'll see. But I love Benedict. He knocked it out of the park. Doctor Strange is a really good MCU movie.
He seems to be one of the main leads now. So, because obviously they're sort of, I think, trying to replace Tony Stark's presence, probably with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And maybe someone else. And he's still on the banner, that big Marvel banner, which they changed, like the Marvel main banner, which they replaced She-Hulk with someone else recently.
Oh, like the big hero banner?
Yeah. Because it has a lot of the Young Avengers on there, and then they have Doctor Strange on there, of course.
Yeah.
So I think going forward, he's probably the base of the leads in terms of being a leader of the crew.
The execs are like basketball coaches. They're always shuffling the
it's all marketing, man.
The starters are always shuffling.
It's all marketing. Let's move on. Back to Harry Potter, man.
Oh, yeah.
We have at number 88. We're at number 88. We have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Interesting that this is probably this is only the second Harry Potter one so far. The finale
I think it's the highest rated.
I believe it's the highest rated as well. Possibly it's a
4.0.
No, Prisoner of Azkaban is definitely higher.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Which I'm sure is in the top 20 of this list, I bet. Deathly Hallows Part 2 is incredible. It's a war film, and it's really just this incredible culmination of a decade of great cinema after, obviously, these books. And what was so fun with after the first few movies came up and the books were caught up with the films, basically, and we were kind of reading the books, and then the movies were coming out around the same time. I thought that was a really exciting time to be alive, especially when we were prime age for that, teenagers, and then obviously kids when the movies were coming out. So
it was our MCU.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were so fortunate to get such great blockbuster filmmaking in the 2000s, and what an ending, what a great film, this epic battle that, really was done well for an adaptation, and I think they really knocked it out of the park. Of the Part 1, Part 2, I think it's the stronger film. But I still like Part 1 a lot. But Deathly Hallows Part 2, fantastic. Of course, it's Harry Potter, so it's going to be on this list.
It was a great ending. He did a great job with it. David Yates and everyone. So it was a terrific conclusion.
Would have liked to see the final duel in the Great Hall, but it is what
that's
it is.
my one knock to it.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Next up at number 87, we have Emerald Fennell's Saltburn, which is a really fun psychosexual thriller starring Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi, Rosamund Pike. This is a fun, crazy, kind of feels like a contemporary wild Jane Austen movie. But Barry Keoghan proved himself to be part of the new Hollywood A-class. Anyone who's a film lover already knew him from his earlier work. But he knocked it out of the park with this movie. We keep saying knocked out of the park.
You keep saying it. I don't know why you're putting...
You just said it.
When?
on your Harry Potter movie.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did
you
not.
You said knocked it out of the park.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
I think you
we
said
keep
it.
bouncing off each other.
I think you said it, and then you think I said it.
You said it. You'll see it on
I'm
the tape.
editing this episode, so.
But anyway, Saltburn is a wild movie. I really enjoyed it. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it on Prime, and I really liked it. It's amazing. Such amazing cinematography from Linus Sandgren. Like, he really is, like, top tier right now. Like, top 3 cinematographers working, I think. He's phenomenal. He makes everything look so incredible, from No Time to Die to Saltburn to Chazelle's movies. Like, he's one of a kind in the DP category. And this movie visually was one of the best looking films of the year.
Never look at dirt the same way again.
Nope.
Never again.
Nope.
Next up, number 86. We have Spider-Man 2.
Nice.
From Sam Raimi. What a blockbuster.
What a picture.
I think still a top 5 superhero movie of all time, with an incredible villain from Doc Ock, and Tobey turning out a great performance of Spider-Man Peter Parker, who's doubting his powers, doubting whether he wants to continue doing what he's doing, flirting with losing his powers, trying to be a normal person, in love with MJ, who's in love with who's getting married to somebody else. What a film. What a picture. The action is still amazing and still looks better than most of the stuff we get these days. The CGI is still better.
The train fight, man.
The building skyscraper fight, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all know that there's been a huge regression with CGI in action, but when you go back and watch a movie that's, you know, this came out, what was it, 2004? 2004, it still looks better than half the action movies we get today. It's sad how much regression there has been. But when you go back and watch these great ones, it shows you what cinema can be. And obviously, there are still films that are progressing everything forward, but man, they used to look like this on the reg.
Also, Doc Ock's tentacles, they look perfect throughout the entire film. Yeah, and they did do plenty of puppeteering, but when it's CGI, it looks great.
Mm-hmm. It has so many of the great elements from Sam Raimi that we love from his horror. You know, whether it's an insert of one of the claws shooting forward, stuff like that.
Plus the campiness.
Yeah.
They just don't, like, he has this really unique style of campiness. It's in all of his films, and it's in his Spider-Man movies. Really, it's to the T. It's perfect in this movie. It's my favorite Spider-Man movie by far.
Yeah, me too.
All right, next up we have at number 85, one of the best MCU movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. And this was really exciting, something really fresh.
No, you're wrong, man. This is number 85 is Guardians 2.
I'm sorry. My bad. All the poster threw me off. It was this list has the Empire Strikes Back poster version.
It's like the theme of
Guardians
the style
2.
of it.
This is Guardians 2, which was a solid sequel. Adding Kurt Russell as the villain was a lot of fun. Again, James Gunn has a really terrific knack for entertaining you, but also pulling at your heartstrings in a really powerful way. He makes you love his characters. He makes you really root for everyone. In Guardians of the Galaxy, it's the MCU movie where they feel like they feel like a real family, and they feel like they're your family when you watch them on screen. So you love revisiting them. His movies, as action-packed and silly and fun as they are, they will make you cry too, which is really what makes him a special filmmaker and honestly a great choice for heading up DC Studios and pioneering their future going forward. So he knocked it out of the park with all of his Guardians movies.
Moving on to 80.
Knocked it out of the park.
See, I told you it's you.
No, I'm saying we're both saying it. I never said I didn't say it.
I never said it.
You'll find out.
Moving on to you. Moving on to number 84. We have our first Spielberg film on the list.
You did the waiting
version. Jurassic Park in the House, which I just watched 2 weeks ago for funsies. What a film. What a picture. We grew up with this, and goodness, Steven Spielberg, probably the best blockbuster filmmaker to ever exist. He can do anything, and no one, I think, could have ever made anything close to this good when it comes to a big live-action dinosaur movie, because almost all of the stuff is done practically. Obviously, early days of CGI with ILM helping enhance everything, but to still do that and still make the giant animatronic dinosaurs, the raptors, the T-Rex head, the T-Rex foot, you know, everyone would just do... Obviously, we've seen recently that they've just gone CGI. Hopefully, the new Jurassic World movies goes back to, let's go practical. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back, to as much in camera as we can, because this movie's still timeless. I just watched it, like I said. It's still timeless. In 100 years, it'll still be good. And that's because it's just made so well. And the characters are incredible. They're at their best in this film. You know, I think Laura Dern and Sam Neill are a great pair, great chemistry, as well as obviously Jeff Goldblum is terrific in this film, who I think was the blueprint for the MCU, if I can be frank. To be fair.
Jurassic Park was the blueprint?
No, Jeff Goldblum's character, Ian Malcolm.
For Tony Stark.
For Tony Stark and a lot of characters in the MCU. I think that's...
Is it because of his robot suit?
No, what robot suit? Who's robot suit?
Jeff Goldblum.
No, I think the style,
the
confidence, the one-liners, the jabs, the sunglasses
I'm
indoors.
just jabbing at you, man.
I think I think Ian Malcolm was the blueprint, to be honest. And not that that's a bad thing, because he's a great character, but awesome movie. It makes sense, even though it's not really plausible. It still makes sense.
Honestly, Jurassic Park is one of the best blockbusters. If you're gonna talk about just flat out blockbuster movies, it's one of the best for sure. It's not even, it's up there all time. Next up at number 83, we're back to MCU with Captain America, Civil War, Avengers 2.5, which was an absolute blast and delight. It was great to see our favorite heroes divided. The Russo brothers did a terrific job trying to follow up the success of the recent string of highly loved movies right before this one. And it was so anticipated to see Iron Man and Captain America fight mano a mano, fist to fist. And then also just to get the emergence of our new Spider-Man in Tom Holland, who seemed perfectly cast in this movie and did a terrific job so far as Peter Parker Spider-Man. It's a wonderful film, excellent action, great stakes. Zemo is a wonderful villain from Daniel Bruhl, and I liked them going with the villain who had no powers. He was just a dude who was very smart.
Just a dude.
Just a guy. And at the end of the day, you know, I think that works better than always having another superpowered villain like getting in a fist fight with your favorite hero. Psychologically breaking down your heroes and tormenting them and turning them against each other was a great conflict, and I really loved Civil War.
Moving on to number 82 from Rian Johnson, we have Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, the follow-up to his massively critically acclaimed hit, Knives Out. I thought this movie was pretty good. I didn't love Glass Onion. Obviously, Daniel Craig's the price of admission on Netflix. He's worth it just to watch him. Great cast, obviously, an incredible ensemble. But, you know, I didn't love Glass Onion too much. It was funny and it was clever, but I think it was not quite up to what the original was. And the original, I think, is just an all-time mystery film of the century for sure.
Yeah. I would say because Benoit Blanc is a Sherlock Holmes kind of character, obviously. He's not quite Sherlock Holmes, but it's basically a new version of that archetype. The thing with Glass Onion is it felt like he wasn't even investigating or taking part in the investigation especially in the second half. And so it kind of just felt like he's kind of just lounging about the last 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That for me was kind of a letdown. Like he wasn't really that involved in what was happening in the third act at all.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. It was funny. It was great to see these actors together. This great cast bouncing off each other. But overall, I was a bit let down for sure. And I'm looking forward to Wake Up Dead Man. I think that they could rebound after Glass Onion for sure. All right, next up at number 81, we have one of the best films of the last 10 years. Chalamet's huge breakout, Luca Guadagnino's huge American breakout hit, Call Me By Your Name. Everything about this film is perfect. It's a remarkable piece of cinema, from the cinematography to the music to the performances to Guadagnino's really amazing directing. This is a magical film. It's one of my favorite films of the last decade to watch. I find it to just be so endearing. One of the greatest portraits of love we've seen in a while. It's a special film. We have the poster in our house. It's just, this movie means a lot to both of us. It's a really excellent adaptation of the novel, and I adore this film. I know you do too. And if you haven't seen Call Me By Your Name, of any of the movies on this list, this should be one you put on your list.
Can I do it?
Go for it.
Elio.
Literally every episode.
It's not every episode. It's anytime it's brought up, I do it. I love Calling By Your Name.
He wakes up every morning. He whispers that to an empty pillow.
I think I watched Calling By Your Name 5 times in 1 year once.
I believe it.
Man,
I watched it. When it came out
I was obsessed
on
with
release,
this
I
movie.
watched it a ton. Yeah.
Obsessed with it.
Can't wait for you to see Queer.
I can't wait. I'm gonna try.
You're also gonna watch I'm Love.
I will get on it. Every
James
episode
is so busy.
You have to watch this. You have to watch that. You have to watch this. Yeah, James, why have you watched this yet? Every episode, every day of my life. Why have you watched it yet?
Is that me?
Pretty much what you sound like. They knocked it out of the park. Why haven't you watched this yet?
Well, I'm sorry that you have a movie podcast. You have to watch movies.
I can't watch every movie ever all the time.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking you to watch Queer.
It just came out like a day ago. I just got back from Boston.
Jerry Seinfeld came
I
out.
was literally. Let me get back to the things and do my thing. Let me get my routine back, Anthony. I just got home from Boston. It was Thanksgiving weekend. Give me a break. Number 80.
Take your time.
Number 80. The Perks of Being a Wallflower from Stephen Chbosky. Adaptation that is one of the better coming-of-age films of the last couple of decades. Logan Lerman, Emma Watson are great leads in this
You
film.
didn't say so.
What? Paul Rudd. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You hesitated. They didn't even say it.
I forgot Paul Rudd. You're right.
You feel like you forgot someone.
Anyways, great film. Very heartwarming. A lot of us get stuck when we're teenagers in terms of what paths to make. Maybe you don't have a ton of friends. There's someone you have a crush on.
Dylan McDermott, that's who you didn't say.
Exactly, thanks. This is one of those movies that helps you get direction. And a lot of it, when you're in your teens, you don't have that really. And you're kind of curious. You know, I've spent a lot of time doing this, whether it's been getting good at sports or doing good grades. And you sort of forget to live in a way. And I think this movie lets kids realize that you can take a break, take your foot off the gas, the pressures of your life, whatever they are, and you can kind of enjoy the moment.
I also remember, so when Emma Watson cut her hair, it was like the same reaction that you can say Mia Farrow got when she cut her hair for Rosemary's Baby.
Hermione cut her hair.
Yeah, exactly. It was like one of the biggest news stories in pop culture that year. She Hermione cut her hair. Emma Watson cut her hair. And did you know Paul Rudd had a guest role in the last season of Friends?
Yeah, he played Phoebe's.
Phoebe's boyfriend.
Phoebe's boyfriend. Yeah, of
He
course,
was
bro.
He was on at the gym last week.
Yeah,
I was
man.
like, Paul Rudd's in Friends.
He had a recurring role for like 12 episodes at least.
Yeah, good for him.
In and out a lot. Sometimes he's just there for a scene, but yeah, he's in.
Good for him.
Brad Pitt was on Friends too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know there were so many celebrity cameos.
Yeah. Did you know Jennifer Aniston's on Friends? Every episode.
That's not even funny. That was even funny.
Every episode.
Sorry, that was a miss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
That was not good.
That was pretty good.
I thought you were going to say something better than that.
that people will think that's funny. I think we should
If
do
anyone thought that was funny, please let us know.
we should do a poll. Did you think that James and Jennifer Aniston joke for Anthony was good? Yes or no?
Put that in the episode.
Spotify
Do
poll.
a poll, please. I'm really curious.
All right, that's what I'll do. Yeah. Yes or no?
Moving on to an actual funny movie. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, one of Edgar Wright's most exciting films, super original, ahead of its time. If it came out now, it would have been a huge box office hit. It's become a cult classic. It's endlessly entertaining, fantastic cast, so creative. I love the filmmaking. I love the music. I love everything about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's really unique and one of the coolest graphic novel adaptations ever.
Moving on to number 78, we have The Menu. I think we're clearly seeing after
I
22
didn't expect to see
films
this.
that recency bias, new releases are a huge part of most watched films
Which
on
is
Letterboxd.
natural.
You know,
Yeah.
Younger kids, it takes a while.
It's not just kids, James.
Younger generations,
Yeah.
younger people.
Yeah.
I call anyone like a kid. That's where we're from. It takes a while to get into old films.
Yeah.
You know, I think. But
It takes time.
The Menu at number 78, it's pretty interesting. I thought it was a really good horror film.
I did not expect to see this on this list.
I did not either. Great ending. I thought it was really fun. Original, unique thriller. Great performances. Ray Fiennes is awesome in this movie. Makes one of the best looking cheeseburgers I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
It's clever. It's witty. It's funny. I didn't love the ending. Didn't love it.
You just said it was a great ending.
No, it was both. Okay.
Pick an answer. Do you hate it or do you love it?
Oh, I did say it was great. I like the way it ends in terms of the burger situation. I don't want to spoil it, but the burger situation with how she gets away.
Yes.
But also what happens to the other people. I don't love that.
Gotcha.
The acceptance of their fate. I guess.
Nor do I.
But overall, it was original, and I had a good time.
I thought Nicholas Hoult was absolutely hysterical in this movie.
Yeah,
he was so funny.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Spider-Man Far From Home, which is the second film in the John Watts trilogy. At number 77, and you know what? This is probably my least favorite Spider-Man movie out of all of them. It's good. It's good.
This is the one in the international
In Europe,
trip?
yeah. It's cute. It's got some good moments, and Holland and Zendaya are great. Like always, Gyllenhaal is a pretty fun villain. Overall, this is a Spider-Man movie where I have no desire to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's pretty low rewatch for me too.
It's a 3.4 on Letterboxd, so I'm not by myself in this. It's good. It's good. I totally get why it's on this list because it's a Spider-Man movie and everybody saw it. But I will say it's kind of my least watched. It's my least watched Spider-Man movie.
So you hate it?
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I've only seen it once.
I've only seen it once.
I've only seen it once, and I was like, "It's all right. It's all right."
Yeah.
It ain't no Spider-Man 2. It ain't no Spider-Man 2.
He's such a purist.
No, Homecoming was really good, I think.
Yeah,
I think Homecoming was a really good first film.
I
enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Enjoyed
Michael
it.
Keaton, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
Let's get on to number 76. We're back with Harry Potter. This time we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Nice.
The Triwizard Tournament.
Yes.
In
Great
all
one.
its glory. Cedric Diggory from Battinson is excellent. A great film. Coming of age is awesome. But the scale of this one in scope is really, really big. You know, there's a lot of huge practical elements happening here with the Triwizard Tournament. Lots of great memes came from this movie, like the ones where you're a student at Hogwarts and you're attending the Triwizard Tournament, and it's on the lake, and you're like so excited. All right, here we go.
Can't wait to watch this.
And then everyone's just underwater. Like, all right, what now? You're just looking
Just
you're looking at the Black Lake. And then
My boy!
That's my boy! Good film, and the introduction of Mad-Eye Moody is really important here. And I enjoy this film quite a bit because it is a Harry Potter film. Although for me, it gets a little too silly at times.
Like when, James?
The tone can get very silly.
Like when?
Because
Give me an example.
Azkaban took it in such a great tone.
Yes.
And this was a little bit of not a full 180, but it was a little bit of a left turn.
I would say Goblet's darker.
I never said it's not darker.
Uh-huh.
I said the tone.
You just said it was silly.
It does get very silly.
Like when?
A lot of this movie is silly.
Give me an example.
The dancing and stuff.
Okay, that's kind of silly.
So much of this movie is silly.
You're right. There's some silly
There's
stuff.
a lot of campiness and a lot of silliness in this movie. I think the music for this film does not feel quite Harry Potter-esque.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. I think that's one of the things.
Peter
for me
Doyle did it.
Yeah, Patrick Doyle.
Patrick Doyle.
Yeah.
Patty Doyle.
He did a really good job, but I think for me, the music is so out of line of what every other Harry Potter film is. That's what makes it feel like an outlier for me.
I would agree with that. He's a good composer, but it didn't feel right, especially coming off of John Williams with Azkaban. How do you follow up John Williams?
No, but it feels like they just went, let's do something completely different, and it just, for me, the music doesn't really work that well in this movie.
Yeah. Although I love Goblet. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's
I
freaking
don't
awesome.
I don't hate it like you hate it.
I don't hate it. I love every Harry Potter movie.
You got a little moisture on your upper lip, by the way.
Moisture?
Yeah, you got it. It's been like a flicker on your on your lip. I've been seeing. Maybe you have like a new cream or something. You have a new lotion.
I didn't shower today.
It's like, okay, you got it. It's like a sparkling. I've been seeing a sparkling out of your mustache.
Well, it's probably when I choked on my coffee before filming.
I heard James coughing and I thought he threw up, but it was like,
I spasmed my coffee back into my mug.
Oh, or then you drank it again?
Yeah, I drank it again. It's just in my mouth.
That's what she said.
It's funny because I put on my white hoodie. My new fancy one from Spotify, and I'm like, don't spill anything on it. And the first thing I do is I sip coffee and I choke aggressively on the coffee.
That's why I wear black and blue, man. All right, next up at number 75, we have it's a new horror film. Not that many so far on this list, but I'm sure we'll see more horror films on this list. we have It, Chapter 1. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. Andy Muschietti knocked it out of the park big time. It's not that loved at 3.4, but I gave this a 4.5-star rating myself.
Interesting. This movie's awesome.
I think it was a really terrific adaptation. Way better than the second film, obviously, but the kids are great. Bill Skarsgård is insane. Cinematography's wonderful. I think the filmmaking overall is just like, you don't really get that many gigantic budget horror movies.
Yeah.
This is one of them, and thank God it did so well. It made like $600 million. It was a huge hit, and because studios don't really give horror that much money.
And I understand why, because the ROI is best in the horror genre in a lot of ways.
When it's a small budget.
It's, you don't have to spend $150 million.
But I love horror, and so it's pretty rare to get these huge epic horror movies like this, like large scale. And I think the imagery was so powerful. What Muschietti and his team were doing with the visual elements of Pennywise tormenting the kids. Overall, in the theater, this was scary. It was funny. It was super entertaining. And it was one of my favorite movies of that year, for sure.
I concur. All right, number 74. Look, we're back with Harry Potter.
James's favorite.
We got Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, man. I love this film. 3.6 on Letterboxd. What a shame.
Damn.
Chamber of Secrets is awesome. I think it's a slight step up from Sorcerer's Stone in terms of the production, as well as the acting and the performances from the kids are a lot better in Chamber of Secrets.
You say that a lot.
I know, tongue twist to myself. I added that word in there. And, it's a great horror movie. We have great characters like Dobby coming in and hanging out. We have Tom Riddle. We have the Basilisk. We have the best movie monster in the Harry Potter franchise, arguably, with the Basilisk. A great mystery. And, I think what J.K. did with the second and third films is the finales, the third acts, you have Harry paired up with just one of his friends. In Chamber, it's him and Ron. And then, obviously, in Azkaban, it's him and Hermione.
Seeing as you can't walk.
Yeah, so I like how she does that, mixes it up a little bit. And Chamber of Secrets, it's just phenomenal. And when you go and watch the actual sets that they built, BTS of Chamber of Secrets, it's remarkable. Obviously, they didn't recreate that completely for Deathly Hallows, which is unfortunate. That's all basically just a giant green screen room. They actually built it for Chamber of Secrets. And some of the best set design in the entire franchise, I think, comes from this film. John Williams coming back for this score, which is very similar to Sorcerer's Stone, but, ramped up a little more. And I love the elements in new characters. Also, like Gilderoy Lockhart's a standout for me in the franchise. Yeah. One of my favorite castings with Kenneth Branagh in the entire franchise with Gilderoy Lockhart. So much fun. This movie's excellent. I adore it so much.
I put the B in Banshee. I love Gilderoy.
I didn't get the B of the Banshee by smiling
at it. Yeah. I love Chamber. It's super funny. All right, next up at number 73, back to the MCU with Taika Waititi's first outing in Thor Ragnarok. A massive, massive step up from Thor the Dark World. It allowed Chris Hemsworth to really flex his personality
and his
muscles and his comedic chops to the full effect that he had been holding back for the first two films. The Thor franchise has been a prickly one. Good, bad, good, all right. But Thor Ragnarok is the highlight for sure. Highly entertaining, just absolutely hilarious. Fantastic cast. Cate Blanchett's fun as the villain. Hella. It was cool to see Thor's hammer get smashed in the opening of the movie. And then teaming up with Tom Hiddleston, Loki again. But ultimately, for me, the highlights of the movie are Thor and Hulk. Them two together, their bromance, their comedic chops, bouncing back and forth. Ruffalo and Hemsworth are dynamite together. And I just found it to be so funny, so ridiculous at times, and overall, a really fun experience for an MCU movie.
Number 72, we're moving on to animation here. We have The Lion King from 1994, directed by Rob Minkoff, Roger Allers. Just an iconic film from our childhood. It was so big in the zeitgeist in pop culture. We were born in 1990, so we were just perfect age for when this came out. It was amazing. And obviously, they're still working this franchise and still milking the IP like crazy with the pseudo live actions, but that aren't live actions. And we have
animated live actions.
Yeah, then we have Mufasa origin story this year coming out.
Origins.
They're obviously going to get what they can because they still make $1 billion, but the original is still the best and still one of the best animated films of all time.
I will say Mufasa has a lot of competition this year.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll hit $1 billion.
I think that Sonic 3 is going to beat it.
I think it's possible Sonic 3 beats it because kids love Sonic.
Sonic, it dethrones a lot of big animated IPs.
It is the underdog.
Yeah, it always is.
It takes other IPs out.
Don't sleep on my boy.
Because it beat. What did it beat out with Sonic 2? It beat out a big IP.
Yeah, something like
that everybody was surprised about. But I think that Sonic 3 could take out Mufasa.
I think it will.
Next up, we have another animated film in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. One of the best animated films of all time. An unbelievable step up in technology and artistry, using modern technology to tell the animated stories in a new way. And Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the pinnacle of it at the moment. This is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. I cried, I laughed, I was visually thrilled, and the story was very strong. Miles Morales is a great lead character, and overall, it was just a wonderful sensory experience. The sequel, did you hear about the delay?
Another delay?
So Beyond the Spider-Verse, they scrapped the entire... Remember, you and I saw Across the Spider-Verse at IMAX early screening, right? And there was a Q&A with one of the directors.
Yeah.
And he teased, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to come out in 2024.
Because they were making it.
Yeah, they were in production.
They were going back to back.
Yes. So they were planning for Beyond to come out in spring 2024. That's what he said at the Q&A. They've now, from reports this past week, Sony has scrapped the film completely.
I thought that was a rumor.
Starting from scratch, it's now coming out in 2027.
Jeez.
That's what outlets have been saying.
That's wild because they literally made it.
Yeah.
They literally made the movie. Like when we were at that Q&A, they're like, yeah, we're almost done with the second film.
So apparently it's delayed to 2027. I could be wrong, but that's what I've read.
That's just a whole different movie then.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Well, that means they want to get it right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was... Why release it like 6 months later? You didn't have to.
It was a rush.
Yeah, why rush it? And from reports and what he was saying, he was like, the animators and he and the other directors were like super overwhelmed and just couldn't even think straight. So yeah, take your time.
Let's move on to number 70. We have Home Alone, a Christmas classic, one of the better, and an annual watch for me, to be honest. Great music from John Williams, which you could honestly replace with Sorcerer Stone. You wouldn't know. And I love this film. Macaulay Culkin. Again, we were prime age for this. 1990, this comes out. We're growing up with Home Alone, and Macaulay was so big in the 90s, the biggest star. I mean, he's doing billboards and posters with Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson. It was wild. A wild time. Macaulay Culkin was the star for kids. I don't think there's been a kid star that big since Macaulay Culkin, to be honest.
Justin Bieber?
No, a kid star.
Kids, yeah.
I'm talking like a little kid.
Yeah, when he was a kid.
Bieber wasn't that big. He wasn't that young when he was a star. I'm talking like a 10-year-old.
Okay.
Bieber was like 16.
I guess.
15, 16. I'm talking about he's like what, 9 in this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's 3.
he's 3 years old. Macaulay Culkin, 3 years old. So much fun, so delightful, and timeless, to be honest.
What else is timeless is the MCU's first big hit with Iron Man from Jon Favreau. The inimitable Robert Downey Jr. made the role of Tony Stark Iron Man his own and paved the way forward for the MCU success with still one of the greatest entries in their franchise. It's, for me, my most watched MCU movie. It's endlessly entertaining, so cool, so badass, incredible CGI and visual effects, a really solid story, and at the end of the day, this is, Robert Downey Jr.'s show, and he fucking nailed it.
He sure did. Still one of my favorites. Top 3 for me for the MCU in general still. Number 68, we have the incredible Darren Aronofsky film from 2010 starring Natalie Portman, Black Swan, a film that we really should do an episode on. It is an absolute masterpiece. One of the best performances from an actor with Natalie Portman here of the century.
Oh, yeah.
Just the camera's on her the entire film, close up so much, and she just carries this movie like a weight and really transforms like few characters really do that you really see. You really see a transformation. She's so talented and really, what a hit. I don't think anyone saw this being the hit it was. It was a massive box office success, huge ROI, huge profit, and took the world by storm, and much deserved. It's so artistic, so well made, and what a well-crafted film.
I'm very happy to see it on this list.
Me too.
I'm very pleased. Next up at number 67, we have Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's first film in the Spider-Man franchise.
This is like the fourth Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's the most popular.
Yeah, Spider-Man's very popular. Everyone likes Spider-Man.
It's everywhere.
This is an amazing movie, and it blew our hair back. We had never seen anything like it before. We were the perfect age for it. We were 11 when it came out, something like that, 12. It was insane to see in theaters. Groundbreaking visual effects. Perfect story. Just a great adaptation of the Peter Parker tale. Willem Dafoe, Tobey Maguire are amazing off each other, and they just got everything right. They did it. He did everything right in this movie.
Number 66.
Yes.
If you want to study filmmaking and learn how great movies are made, just watch Jonathan Demme's The Silence of the Lambs, because it is one of the greatest American films of all time. An absolute masterpiece of suspense, horror, filmmaking, and acting. We have two of the best performances ever in just one movie, with Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter and Jodie Foster as Agent Sterling. And what a film, what a picture, incredible adaptation. I just watched Manhunter from Michael Mann recently, and it just makes me appreciate it.
How'd you like it?
Oh, this is the third time I've seen it.
How'd you like it, though?
Oh, I love it, yeah. How'd you like it?
How'd you like it?
How do you like it?
Yeah. How do you like it?
Silence of the Lambs is just that good. It's made with such purpose. It's like they knew it was going to be a masterpiece. Winner of the Big Five, one of the only 3 films to do that at the Academy Awards. Not much to say that we haven't already in our episode with this.
Oh, didn't we watch Manhunter together like last year? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a nice night.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All right, next up at number 65, we have Star Wars: A New Hope, the movie that changed the landscape of Hollywood forever. George Lucas's gigantic blockbuster hit made sound shockwaves across the world and changed the landscape of movies again. Sorry.
He's on rewind, guys.
Sorry.
Did he knock it out of the park?
He sure did. New Hope's phenomenal. We all know New Hope. I mean, what is there to say about New Hope that hasn't already been said? It's fucking awesome. It's Star Wars.
It's great.
Whatever.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, move on. It's great.
Moving on to Quentin Tarantino, the first movie of his on the list, I believe.
Yep.
It looks like it. And we have Kill Bill Volume 1, which is my favorite of the Kill Bills and still a personal favorite of mine, probably in his filmography. It's top 3 easy. One of my most watched movies of all time. Anthony and I watched this movie so many fucking times when we were kids. We watched this, like, whenever we say we watched it all the time when we were kids, this is actually a movie we watched all the time when we were kids, not the one with Brendan Fraser in the band taking over the radio station, Anthony.
We watched Airheads a lot.
We did not watch Airheads.
It was on TNT a lot.
I know that one episode Anthony said we watched Airheads
we watched
all the time when we were
Airheads
kids.
multiple
It's
times.
not true.
We saw it a bunch.
Not true. Kill Bill.
Not as much as Kill Bill.
Kill Bill was a movie we watched all the time when we were kids. Dad took us to see these movies when we were younger, and I used to love it. And man, Beatrix Kiddo, still one of the best characters of all time. One of my favorites. Got the poster behind me. Uma Thurman's such a badass. I love her. One of my favorite action heroes, and just one of the best revenge films ever made.
Big time. Big time. Thank God Jennifer Lawrence paved the way for female action heroes.
What an interview, man. What an interview.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That's what I mean when actors these days just talk too much. Just stop saying stuff and you'll get more roles.
Oh, she's getting roles.
I know she's getting roles, but I mean,
just stop saying ridiculous stuff.
like,
all right, number 63, we have 10 Things I Hate About You, the first rom-com on this list, and it's delightful. Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles. Thank
Goodness.
you. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. David Krumholtz is in this. Great cast. Allison Janney is hilarious.
Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, an amazing movie. I mean, we grew up watching this. This was like the cool teen comedy of our day. Very romantic. Phenomenal performances from everybody. This was also like Julia Stiles' big breakout, but then also Hollywood and America finding out who Heath Ledger was in a big way. And then he got Knight's Tale right after this. So it's a delightful film. Great adaptation of a Shakespearean piece of work. And yeah, it's a great time. I'm glad that it's gotten this really insane resurgence on Letterboxd the last 3 years.
It's really good.
Yeah,
It's
it
really good.
deserves it. It's a wonderful movie.
Let's talk about another wonderful film. At number 62, we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind from Michael Gondry. This is an incredible film written by, what's his name?
Charlie Kaufman.
Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet. Phenomenal co-leads in this film. A really great story about love, about breakups, about relationships, about grief, and that post-breakup period. What do you do with your life? And then what if you could actually erase a person from your memory so you don't have to feel the pain of that loss of that relationship? Really powerful film, aesthetically perfect and just unique, surreal in the best ways. It feels like watching a dream. It feels like what dreams are at times. And Jim Carrey, an incredibly underrated performance from award shows and academies.
And it's like that concept is something, I think it's so powerful because I think everybody goes through that feeling at one time or another in their lives.
Wish I never met you kind of thing. Yeah.
I think everybody experiences that to some degree.
Yeah.
Next up at number 61, we have one of the greatest science fiction films of all time, Back to the Future, from Bob Zemeckis. Bob!
Is that what you call him? Bob Zemeckis.
And this is just a perfect movie. It's everything about it is sensational. We all know how good Back to the Future is. By the way, are you going to see the musical now it's in LA because it's leaving soon?
I probably don't have time to get tickets. It leaves.
Try to see if you can, because
so not only do I have to watch all these movies, apparently
watch one movie.
Apparently, I have to watch. Now I have to watch a musical. Everybody.
I'm just saying, Back to the Future the musical. I saw it at the West End in London, and it absolutely floored me. It was so fun, and it was just a wonderful, perfect adaptation of the film for fans. So, if you have time, I just recommend. If anyone lives in LA or around the LA area, it's playing at the Pantages. I think it ends in a week or two. Try to see Back to the Future the musical. You will not be disappointed.
I'm gonna look up tickets later.
Trust me, man. Trust me. You're gonna. I was standing up. Woo! Let's go! I was like, oh my god! I clapped for it. It was like a Cannes Film Awards applause. I was just like, we were all just like, woo! For like 10 minutes. It was great.
Number 60. We're talking about a David Fincher film which gets a release in IMAX next year. 7. Starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Plus, we have
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey just blanked on his name. Absolutely incredible crime drama. Horror movie. It's a genre expanding film. You know, it's kind of all over the place. But what David Fincher did with his second feature film is nothing short of astounding. I can't believe it was his second movie. That's how good it is. That's how confident of a filmmaker he is when he watches it. When you watch this movie, it's done so well. It's planned so well, and it's just beyond good. I mean, I loved when we did our episode on it, and David Fincher is one of the best filmmakers alive, and this is his best movie still. And I can't wait to see it in IMAX on a massive screen. This is one that we've also, for some reason, this was a movie we watched all the time when we were kids as well. I swear to God, we watched this movie way too much when we were young.
Oh yeah,
it's 7, man.
Oh yeah.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? IMAX, baby. Let's go. At number 59, we have Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring, the first chapter in Peter Jackson's magnificent trilogy, an adaptation of the novels. We all know, man, it's the best. Fellowship is just phenomenal. It's probably my favorite Lord of the Rings movie. I think it's so special. The characters, the lore, the world building, the music, the fights. I mean, everything about it. It's just one of a kind. And I'm happy that people enjoy things like the Rings of Power and War of the Rohirrim coming out. But man, there's really only one Lord of the Rings trilogy. There only ever will be that one thing for me.
We'll never, ever again in the history of humanity going forward get movies like these. Never. It will never happen again.
No.
We're so lucky to see him in theaters. That was amazing.
Dude, yeah, for real.
Number 58, we're back with David Fincher with The Social Network.
Oh, yeah.
The slightly true story about Mark Zuckerberg's rise to fame and fortune as he creates the social network Facebook in the 2000s. We were in high school when it came out, but I didn't get it till I was 18 in college. So in 2008 or 2009, that's when I first got Facebook. But it was very popular. But the movie is just expertly crafted, absolute masterpiece. It's a movie that we got to do an episode on ASAP. I always forget how popular it is, and it makes me happy to see how many people watch this film.
We've never done it.
We've never done an episode on the
Got
Social
to do
Network. It's so goddamn good, and Jesse Eisenberg is phenomenal in this film. It's a really, I think, powerful film because of how much our lives have changed because of social media. And Facebook was the leader in terms of not the first to do it, but really changed the way people communicate online big time with Facebook.
And nobody thought, I mean, a Facebook movie, I remember it being announced, everyone being like, what the hell, Facebook movie? But man, it's one of the best films of the century, and I put it right behind Seven. It's the best thing he's done this century.
Whoa.
Next up at number 57, we have Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. One of the coolest movies ever made. If you live in LA, this is right up your alley. It's one of the best LA movies. The cast is phenomenal. Rick Dalton is one of my favorite movie characters ever. I think he's...
God damn it.
This is a private road. You hippies came up here and smoked dope, didn't you? Making margaritas.
You have 9 whiskey sours, didn't you? Could have 2 or 3.
I ain't gonna hurt her. I just want her to play the fiddle. No, senor, please.
Spanish.
Spanish. I love Rick Dalton, and I love Cliff Booth. These are just two iconic actors playing what will be iconic roles. This is so rewatchable. I think it's also just a cool hangout movie. I love everything about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it gets better on rewatches. It's just perfect.
Number 56, we have The Grand Budapest Hotel, our first film from Wes Anderson on the list. 2014, this movie is 10 years old.
Wow.
Starring the great and powerful and hilarious Ralph Fiennes. I've never seen him so funny before in my entire life. He perfectly fits the tone of Wes Anderson's style of humor and comedy. And Budapest, I think, is the best thing Wes Anderson's ever created as a filmmaker. Absolutely magnificent masterpiece. So funny. So practically made in the best ways possible, and just a movie that makes you smile start to finish, and it's like a warm blanket holding on to you. I love Grand Budapest.
Like a warm blanket.
It's so creative.
Wow. All right, next up at number 55.
Like, like a weighted blanket, how like they really cuddle you.
You know what I started doing is I have a fleece underneath my blanket now. It's really nice.
Been doing that for a while, man.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
At number 55, we have Monsters, Inc., which is one of the best Pixar movies ever. On top of that, it's probably one of my most watched movies of all time because of babysitting our niece. And she would go through months of wanting to watch it every day.
There's Monsters, Inc. and How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas in the summertime. So I've seen Monsters, Inc. It could be my most watched movie.
Mike Wazowski.
But it's endlessly entertaining. It's so fun. The characters are amazing. This is so creative. It was such a fun concept. And I think it's still one of the great Disney Pixar movies. Still.
It wasn't Disney. It was Pixar.
One of the great Pixar movies that Disney now owns.
Yeah, I think that the early 2000s Pixar was really the best they've ever were. With leading up to Ratatouille in 2007. Finding Nemo,
2000s,
Monsters Inc., Toy Story in 95, but man.
That's not 2000s though.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying in their early days, I think they were at their best.
Early days, yeah.
Let's move on.
I agree.
We are on number 54, guys.
Wow.
And we're going to talk about Mean Girls
Great
on
pick.
Wednesdays We Wear Pink, directed by Mark Waters, starring Rachel McAdams, as well as Lindsay Lohan. Hysterical, iconic. It still is in pop culture. Every year, on the date that the kid asks for the time, people tweet about it and post about it. On Wednesdays We Wear Pink, people still reference that. I think Barbie got people really back into having fun with this movie. The pink style. I think obviously this movie had an influence on Barbie in a lot of ways, in my opinion. The musical came out, which was a huge hit at theaters, but kind of mixed with critics and audiences in terms of how good it was. But I think the original is just the classic. It's so fun. It's hysterical, and I love Mean Girls.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Also great is number 53, Coco, which is one of my favorite Pixar movies ever. This is deeply emotional, so fun, creative, visually stunning, and beautiful. I love the culture, and everything about Coco just works. And this is a movie that makes me sob like crazy, man. This hits you. It packs such an emotional punch, and it's one of the most powerful movies to come out of animation, I think, in the last 20 years for sure. It's absolutely wonderful movie.
I think that Coco is what Pixar can be. at its
Their
best.
potential, yeah. That's the
In the modern day.
what they're capable, like the highest peak they're capable of.
I think it's the last great movie they made, I think, honestly. Number 52, we have Avatar from James Cameron, the world-changing phenomenon of incredible technology. Spends the entire century developing technology to make this movie and doing it all over again.
He spent 100 years.
For 100 years, he's been developing submarines and tanks and underwater cameras. Avatar is a very special film. It is just one of those movies where it's an event. When an Avatar film comes out, everyone goes to the cinema. Everyone sees this in IMAX. Everyone sees this in IMAX in 3D if they can, which is always just a wild experience because there's nothing even close to Avatar. And what they've been accomplishing and pushing the boundaries of technology, of CGI and animation is just otherworldly. It feels like a movie that was made in the future. That's how good it is when it comes to that aspect of it. It feels like it was made in 20 years because it's so advanced.
Yeah.
And James Cameron really has put his life and soul into this franchise.
In a way, you could argue James Cameron is crafting the greatest example of spectacle in cinemas every time one of these comes out.
Yeah.
Next up, at number 51, we have The Hunger Games from director Gary Ross, the first adaptation of the hugely successful worldwide phenomenon. This was the young adult fiction that took over the world after Harry Potter ended, and it's really good. I like the first one. Catching Fire is awesome and made Jennifer Lawrence a star, rightfully so. She's wonderful as Katniss Everdeen. I think that the world building is so interesting. It's a really fascinating tale. Hugely relevant still to this day. And it's a good movie. They did a great job of adapting the novel.
Yeah, I just started a book, and it's got a lot of similar tones.
Is it a pop-up book?
It's got a similar tone and feel to Hunger Games, which is, obviously very popular.
Is it Cat in the Hat?
This guy.
Sorry.
Thinks he's a comedian over there. Look at him laughing. He can't even stand it. He can't even stand how funny he thinks he is. Look at him go. Look at him go. Look at you go.
Sorry. How about we move into our intermission, man?
I think we should go to our intermission because it's about that time. We've done 50 movies now.
Yeah, we've done 50.
We'll come back and do the final 50. But it's really interesting so far to see this list so far. Stop saying so far. Let's move into our intermission. And before we continue, though, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast, you guys all know, it's to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Our patrons get awesome perks like access to bonus episodes of the show every single week. We did We Live in Time recently. We did Juror number 2 like a week ago, as well as the weekly chat lives on Patreon. Only patrons have access to those episodes, so it's pretty special. You also get access to the ad-free version of every single episode. So if you don't want to listen to commercial breaks on YouTube or Apple or Spotify, wherever you tune in, if you listen on Patreon, you don't get commercial breaks. It's a pretty seamless episode and very great experience. And Patreon is just a great way to support us. You get access to our Discord. Watch parties happen there. We just watched, what was watched?
Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I was in Boston, so I couldn't tune in, but I was flying.
James was too busy.
I was on a plane.
No, James is never too busy.
I was on a plane.
It was just the only day everyone can do, and James was flying.
Flying in the air. But sign up today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Another great way to support the show. You all know, leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. 90% of our followers have not left those ratings yet. So go ahead. You're listening on Apple. You're listening on Spotify. Just take 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds, a couple seconds. Scroll up, hit your phone screen with the right combination of finger touches. Leave those 5-star ratings because they help.
Finger touches.
They help reputability for the show. They help get new people to see our platforms, help new people to see the show and discover it, as well as we just love to see the ratings and reviews that people leave. I'll read a written review out in just a minute. The final great way to support the show, besides listening, is and subscribing on YouTube as well. Just share us. Word of mouth is the best way for a podcast to grow. So tell all your family members, your friends, anyone you know who loves movies about Raiders of the Lost Podcast.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the number one place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now. They have a huge selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your posters. The holiday season is upon us. It's almost Christmas time. Is there a movie lover in your life? If there is, the best gift you can get them is an amazing, high-quality movie poster of their favorite film or even their favorite TV show. These are high quality, like I just said, again. Beautiful posters.
They knock it out of the park.
They knock it out of the park. We got them all over our home, all over our set. Look at these beautiful backlights behind James. Kill Bill. I got Empire Strikes Back. Look, these are fucking awesome posters, guys. If you want to get yourself a poster for your Christmas, you deserve it. So you should get it at movieposters.com. And again, the best place for your poster needs. Use our coupon code. I'm a mess right now. Use our coupon code Raiders10 at movieposters.com, and that'll get you 10% off your order right now.
Your voice went up an octave. You were like, use our coupon code. All right, let's get into our intermission and start with framed.wtf, the website that gives you movie stills, and you have to guess the film based off the still. Today we have a really interesting movie still. It's a giant castle.
A dungeon castle on a cliffside.
A cliffside.
Is this Mortal Kombat?
It looks maybe older than Mortal Kombat. It looks 70s, maybe 80s era style.
It is not. Is it?
Hold on, let's see.
I'm going to say Ran.
I honestly don't have a guess. I'm going to skip.
say Ran.
I have a skip.
Nope.
All right, the next image.
I got a black screen. What do you have? Oh, wait, no, I got it.
Oh, I know what this is.
Oh, this is Dune. It's Dune.
It's the image of Gurney and Paul fighting with the shields.
Their
And the
boxy shields.
The boxy shields.
Oh, man. So that must be the Atreides castle.
Yeah, that's their castle, yeah.
And then what else we got? Then we got the giant ship. Okay. Sandworms. It kind of looked like Mortal Kombat.
I mean,
Yeah,
kind
the
of.
first shot.
All right, let's get to our movie quote competition now.
What do you got?
I'll go first. Enter our protagonist. He's good looking. He's gorgeous. He's golden age. He's a proper handsome cunt. His name is Mickey Pearson. Unique background has our Mickey. American born, Rhodes Scholar, so he's born clever, but poor.
It's Hugh Grant and the Gentleman.
He's a proper handsome cunt.
Proper handsome. He's so good in that movie.
Yeah, he's fucking
He
amazing.
carries that movie.
I feel like the guys who made Heretic were like, that's who we're gonna cast him because he's so good at narrating stuff in movies. Because you could watch him do page after page of dialogue, and it's amazing.
Yeah, he has so much dialogue in The Gentleman. It's unbelievable what he pulled off.
So funny.
All right, here's mine. Congratulations, you are still alive. Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you. Not anymore.
Saw.
That's correct. Ding, 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 ding.
It's the girl, right? The girl who survives.
That's what Jigsaw says to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Amanda survives.
Yeah.
Amanda's the one who survives.
Because it's her getting questioned by the cops.
Yeah.
That's right.
Great one. You got it, man.
That was a
tough
good quote. That was
a tough
quote. Because
one.
I'm like, all right, sounds like a serial killer.
Yeah.
It sounds almost like it could belong in 7, but I know that's not a 7 line.
No.
Okay, Anthony.
Anthony?
Something happened there with my mouth. That's what she said. Guess this movie release year. Wrath of Man.
Oh, this just came out. I'm going to say 2022.
2021.
2021. Wow. Oh, yeah. That was early post-COVID release, I remember. Yeah. That was a good one. Guy Ritchie trivia, huh?
I don't know what makes you say that.
What year did Saw come out?
2000. And 2000.
2004.
I didn't want to cheat.
Try to cheat.
I didn't want to cheat.
You saw me reacting. You were like, oh, not done.
All right, Anthony, movie pop quiz time. What martial art does Guy Ritchie have a black belt in?
Jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a cool dude.
BJJ.
BJJ. That's a good quiz question.
Thanks.
Yeah. What is Jigsaw's real name? I did Saw trivia.
Like in the movie, not the actor.
Like in the movie.
Howard Samsonite. It's like Phil.
It's not
Phil.
It's not Phil.
Stu.
It's not Stu.
Brian.
No.
Harry.
You want the first name?
So what's it start with?
John.
It starts with John.
It's John.
So John Michael Stephen.
That's a fail. I'm taking it as.
John Legend. John McClane.
We're just gonna say it's John Kramer.
John Kramer.
John Kramer.
Yep, that got me. Anyways.
That was a tough one. That was a
That was a tough one.
That was a toughie.
All right, Anthony, what do we have for haters this week? Any unsubscribes? It's been a while since we've recorded.
Yeah, so
because of the Thanksgiving holiday.
So yesterday's movie news episode, I accidentally posted. Accidentally scheduled the post for the wrong day, so it didn't post right away in the morning.
The episode?
Yeah, I just posted it live, but we got a bunch of comments and stuff. So I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, so sorry.
What time did it go up?
I just will put it up right now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I had scheduled because you know how Patreon with the new when you upload an episode.
on Patreon didn't go up.
Oh, Patreon, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, I woke up and I saw movie news.
So maybe if you listen when I said Patreon. So, but
I'm
this
in and out when
with
you
the
talk.
with the new website when you start an upload, it automatically always has like a week later for its the automatic like first choice for a posting date. You know,
Interesting. For scheduling.
yeah, for scheduling, and I forgot to change that to the next day, but it's up now. But our Jennifer wrote movie news on Spotify, not on Spotify, and dropping on Patreon in 4 days. Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe.
Sorry about that. It's up now. That was my bad. All right, next up, Gavin O'Donnell in the Best Historical Epics episode, The Power of the Dog, Best Picture winner. For all the Coda fans out there, I'm gonna have to unsubscribe. Yeah, I like Coda better. But they were both good. Yeah, they were both good.
I like Coda quite a lot. And Anthony and I called that winning Best Picture back when we saw it at Sundance. We called it.
Oh, yeah. You called. I didn't call it. You called it.
Oh, yeah, I called it.
I'm not taking any credit for that.
Thanks, man.
That was all you, man.
I did call it.
That was all you. All right, next up, Daniel Ote. I will be on our Wicked review. I will be unsubscribing. The fact that you guys were like, wow, I wish Brolin and Bardem would reunite in a film when they are literally in one of your supposed favorite movies, Dude and Dune Part 2. I am stunned and offended by your fake love of Dude. Unsubscribe. JK, keep up the good work.
That's pretty good.
You got us.
Totally got us.
Daniel got us. I couldn't believe it when I read that. I was like, oh my God, we're so dumb. Sometimes you just like,
Daniel's not the only one who's like, idiots.
yeah. What about Dude?
I know. That's pretty funny.
Next up, I posted a few photos of me at the Getty Museum and one in front of Van Gogh painting. And Danny Smith wrote, love this one because I'm the artist in residence at the Van Gogh exhibit in Toronto. Very cool.
Sick.
Will never unsubscribed. It was one of my aunt photos. I took your favorite aunt at the Getty Museum photos. It was very cute. Anyways, James doesn't seem to care.
About your aunt photos?
Yes.
I said today that they were very cute.
Thank you. Next up, on Wicked, Newton Kibiro. Did you say Wicked is a Warner Brothers film? Unsubscribed. It's Universal.
Whoops.
RM Jove. Gladiator 2 episode. I want James's spot on the show, Connor. Then I'd be great. Let me in, or I will have to unsubscribe.
Why just me?
I wrote, you got it. When could you start? And then Connor wrote, I want Anthony's spot on the show, James. And I'd be great. Let me in, or I'll have to unsubscribe.
All right.
I wrote, never. Thanks, guys.
Bias.
That was a cute double unsubscribe from two friends.
I wonder who's been replying to comments on YouTube.
Those are Spotify comments. That's all. I'm caught up.
All right, we have a great 5-star written review from Hunter Lizziness. A podcast to turn anyone into a movie freak. 5 stars. I absolutely love you guys. I've been listening since the beginning, but took a break when we had our first child, Margot. Hey, congratulations,
Congrats.
Hunter. Now at 14 months old, she loves watching the pod on YouTube and giggles the whole time. We're having a boy in April. What do you guys think about going full Barbenheimer and having Margot and Killian? Anyway, thank you both for turning my whole family into movie freaks. Hunter,
Aww.
First of all, thank you so much for writing out a review on Apple Podcasts for us and for the 5 stars. We appreciate it. And this was such a sweet personal review as well. So happy for you and your family. Congratulations on a daughter and a son coming soon.
That's awesome.
Margot and Killian.
That'd be great.
That'd be pretty
Those
fun.
are good names for kids.
They are.
They're really good names.
Overall. And then I guess it's just, do you want to live with people always knowing that it's like the Barbenheimer thing?
It's very cute.
It's kind of cool.
It's very cute.
Like a little movie lore, a little, because it
build
was
they can share a room. One half can be Barbie and one half can be Oppenheimer.
yeah, pink and orange.
Yeah.
One room be on fire and one room be pink.
On fire.
Or just black and white.
Have them wear top hats.
Yeah, you know what you should do, Hunter, is you dress them like their names. Lots of suits and top hats.
Those are great.
for, for little man. I
love it.
That's really cool. I like that idea. I think that's cute as hell. They are great names.
Thanks so much for the review.
Gillian is a cool name. But yeah, thanks, Hunter, so much. All right, Anthony. Do you have a movie recommendation? Or streaming recommendation?
A Knight's Tale is now on Amazon Prime. Check it out if you have not seen it. It's a really fun, pure piece romance.
Sweet.
With some good action. And actually a lot of historical accuracy, too.
When was the last time you watched it?
Fucking years ago, man.
I haven't seen it
years
in a while.
ago.
Maybe we should do an episode on it.
Maybe we should, man. Maybe we should.
I recommend Alien Romulus. It's on Hulu streaming now. I watched it with Janice, mom, and I have her Letterboxd review if you want to see it. I wrote, showed mom Alien Romulus, who's an Alien fan. She said it was very cool. End of the review. She enjoyed it.
She said it was really cool. That's good. That's good.
Good stuff. All right. That wraps up our intermission. Shall we get back to our list of the most popular, most watched films on Letterboxd? Last we left off at 51 with Hunger Games. Let's start off with number 50, Martin Scorsese's first film on the list.
Woo!
With Shutter Island, one of his most loved movies for sure this century. Obviously, we have a great cast with Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo and Ben Kingsley. But what a mystery, what a thriller. One of his more horror-esque films, his more scary movies. You know, Cape Fear's up there as well.
It's super scary.
It does get pretty scary in this movie.
It's very scary.
The aesthetic is astounding. Really great visual film. And he just, like usual, proves that he's still one of the GOATs.
He is
possibly the best director to ever live. Shutter Island.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Is great, very twisty, and Leo's phenomenal.
At number 49, we have The Incredibles. One of the best superhero movies of all time. From Andrew Stanton. Or is it Brad Bird?
I believe it's Brad Bird.
I think it's Bradley Bird. Yes. Brad Bird. I love this movie. It was so much fun and very unexpected. A delight. Super adventurous. Hysterical. And again, like you said earlier, in the 2000s was probably the best Pixar's ever done. All that string of movies. This is one of them.
Number 48. My all-time favorite movie, The Matrix, is on here. Top 50, that still makes me happy. You know,
yeah.
This is a movie that I think it's important for generations, new and old, to watch. It's very eye-opening, very philosophical, but also groundbreaking when it comes to the CGI, the visual effects, and the martial arts and action. Just really genre-exploding movie. Everyone tried to copy The Matrix for about a decade. Keanu Reeves is a perfect choice as the lead as Neo. And, you know, we talk glowingly about the Matrix all the time. We've done episodes on it, so feel free to check those out. We all love the film.
Big time. Next up, we have Shrek. Your favorite ogre is at number 47. We all love the movie. Great fairy tale. I love the mashup of all the famous stories and highly entertaining. This is a great time.
Looking at who we have at number 46. Back with Quentin Tarantino. A more recent film from him. We have Django Unchained, which is just so fun. Jamie Foxx is terrific as the lead in this movie. But I gotta say, Samuel L. Jackson and Leonardo DiCaprio steal every goddamn moment of screen time that they're in. Leo as Calvin Candy is the most despicable character, followed by another despicable character with Sam L. are just phenomenal. It really shifts the second half of the movie into something else. The first half's great, but really it's sort of like two different movies once they get introduced and we're in Candyland. I love this movie so much. Very influential, I think, for a lot of filmmakers. Quentin Tarantino has been his entire career and still is. And it's just cool, man. The guy can take any genre, any story, and just make it cool. And I think that's one of the great strengths of Tarantino's filmography. And Django is just awesome.
I love... I watched this behind-the-scenes video of them filming, and he often plays music when it's non-dialogue. He has, like, a playlist that he has them play.
So does he know... Because he knows what song he's going to use in the moment, so
Yes.
he plays that.
So I watched the scene where Waltz and Fox were leaving the saloon. Or I think that after the they're in that Wild West saloon town, and he's getting his, like, new clothes and stuff. And there's this video showed a bunch of different takes, different setups from a couple of those scenes, and they played music on set every single time.
Cool.
And I think it helps them get in the mood. And
I bet, yeah. I bet.
Have we done an episode on Django?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
We did?
A while ago, I believe.
No, we did slavery movies.
We've not done Django?
Yeah. I don't think we've done it. We got to do an episode on Django. Not that I know. Yes. Wait, no. Nope. We got to do it.
Are you positive?
I'm not positive.
I don't know what positive is.
I don't know what positive means. You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
I'm sure. I'm positive. I don't think we've done it. If we haven't, we should do it.
Oh, let's do it ASAP then.
For show. All right, next up at number 45, we have Avengers. Marvel's Avengers, the game-changing superhero movie, the team-up that everybody thought would not work, but now has become the norm of team-ups. I remember everyone was like, how are you going to balance all these characters? Now it's like...
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, everyone's saying like, oh, there's going to be too many characters. Nobody's going to know what's going on. But Joss Whedon and the team did an amazing job. It's super fun. A great start to the Avengers franchise of films. And the original cast is just it's just a perfect pairing, a perfect group of actors and characters, and they all bounce off each other so well. It's great. Loki's a very good villain. Overall, it's a great time.
Let's move on to number 44. What do we have here? Spider-Man Homecoming. The first Spider-Man for Tom Holland movie. Yeah, the high school one.
Correct.
Michael Keaton as
You're right, man.
Vulture for the villain, who plays MJ's dad.
Nope.
The other girl's dad.
The other
girl's dad. I've only seen it once. Pretty good.
Only once?
Only once.
I've
Pretty good.
I've seen it twice.
Yeah, I think it's solid. Introducing new characters, new sidekicks. It's a lot of fun. Good camp, good humor, great visual effects,
Ned's
special effects.
funny,
Yeah, Ned's super funny, and obviously Zendaya as MJ gets introduced in this film as well. And yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good entry. It's a high school movie.
Yeah.
This is the only Spider-Man movie that really feels like a high school movie.
I think the Garfield one, Amazing Spider-Man 1, does.
Okay, I guess.
But less time.
In this one, they all look like they're high schoolers.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It feels like a high school.
28-year-old Tobey Maguire. Yeah.
They all look like they're high schoolers.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah, I'll
That's
give you
what I
that.
meant. At number 43, we're back with Edgar Wright and Baby Driver. An absolutely terrific heist movie. I love Baby Driver. The music, the characters, the actors are all phenomenal. Really excellent time. Great twists. It's just good fun. Good, clean fun in the movie theater.
You know what else is good, clean fun?
What's that?
Number 42, look what we got. We have Gone Girl. I freaking love this movie.
Good, clean fun.
Yeah, good, clean fun. Was this the fourth Fincher movie so far, or third?
Getting up there, yeah.
I think it shows you how much people like David Fincher because he's one of our favorites. And Gone Girl, another movie where I just binged the hell out of over and over again when it first came out. I was really obsessed with Gone Girl, and I think it's really great. It's a strong film in his filmography. Whenever people put Gone Girl at the top of a list in their Fincher movies, I'm like, power to you, man. That's awesome. And obviously Ben's perfect in this role. Rosamund Pike as well. Great twists, great gore, incredible music. You know, I think what the pairing with Fincher with Reznor and Atticus Ross has just been so special in all of those guys' careers.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what they do with Tron Ares as Nine Inch Nails.
Wait till you hear what they did with Queer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did Queer.
When are you going to see Queer?
This freaking guy. Obviously, Challengers was awesome. The music is phenomenal. But yeah, I think that Gone Girl is really great. It's special, and it's so fun. It's sinisterly fun. It's a delight to watch every time. I love it, and I feel like I've seen this movie a dozen times.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
At number
This
41.
guy, he's full of jokes today, everybody. He's spunky.
Well, I haven't seen you in a week, and I got to get them all out, man.
Oh, finally, you've been holding them in. Anthony's great jokes. He's just
Better than that Jennifer Aniston
He's
one.
just been telling them into the mirror. Dude, I'm telling you, that poll is going to surprise you. That poll.
0 laughs were had.
That's not true. I laughed.
64,000 people tuned away after
I'm
that
Spartacus.
joke. At number 41, we have Lady Bird, my favorite Greta Gerwig film. Saoirse Ronan commands the screen as Lady Bird. I love the cast. I love this story. This is super relatable for us. We didn't grow up in Sacktown, but we went to Catholic school. We were teenagers once, and
long fucking time.
Yeah, long fucking time ago. I really related to this movie in a lot of ways, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's so well written. It's a terrific screenplay. And this is a Saoirse Ronan show. She can do anything, and this was a really big highlight for her, especially with American audiences to show everyone what she's capable of. And I think it's a really wonderful movie.
Great coming-of-age film.
Yes.
One of the best ones of the century for sure.
One of the
It's up
best.
there. Number 40, we have Toy Story, the original from 1995. John Lasseter blowing everyone's socks off with Pixar. What? They did. Pixar, no one heard of it. No one knew what Pixar was.
Nope.
And then Steve Jobs comes in and funds them to become a film studio after they were almost done. And
Look at them now.
They changed animation forever. And Toy Story arguably still could be their best movie. It has everything you love about a Pixar film. It has the heart. It has the childish humor and childish story that we can connect to.
Oh, yeah.
But I think just the imagination is one of the greatest strengths to Pixar films. And using imagination to create something that doesn't exist is always when they're at their best. And Toy Story, just the idea of toys being able to walk and talk and having their own identities and their own souls, and just living to be dolls for their owners, is just so cute and fun, because you always imagine as a kid that your toys can talk to you, and you imagine that constantly. And so I think it's still brilliant.
Kids.
It's still brilliant. It's so funny.
They also just the concept's great, but the characters are what make it special. They settled on really great choices for who they are. Like, you have Woody the cowboy, and then Buzz Lightyear the spaceman, and then Potato Head and the Slinky Dog. Like, they made good choices for what the toys were. That really helped it become something special. All right, next up at number 39, we have Finding Nemo. One of the most emotional and powerfully resonant Pixar films of all time. Everybody saw this movie. And the animation was absolutely stunning to behold underwater. The beautiful lighting and colors of the land, of the ocean, beneath the land, whatever I'm saying. But it's great. We all love Finding Nemo.
38.
It's a good time.
Number 38, we have Inglourious Basterds from Quentin Tarantino.
I think they're all going to be on this list.
I think all of Tarantino's will be on here, but we're also seeing a lot of animated films now.
Yes.
So I think that's probably 3 since the last 50 started. And Inglourious Basterds, I mean, we've done episodes on it. It's a favorite among fans for Tarantino. Whenever we do our Letterboxd recaps and we talk about people's top 4 favorite films, Inglourious Basterds is a pretty common film on
I'd say
there.
it's the most common Tarantino.
It's up there. And it's so fun. The revisionist history is his favorite genre to work with right now, blending in Westerns as well. But going to Nazi Germany and killing Hitler, but having these great characters, great ensemble cast, production design off the charts in this movie. Just phenomenal filmmaking, so creative. Tarantino's use of music is always great, but I think for when it comes to writing and screenplay, it's arguably his best screenplay. It's really phenomenal. And I love Inglourious Basterds, man.
I also love at number 37, we have The Shining. That's a James announcement right there. That's how you
Is that
say
what
it.
I sound like?
Yes,
That's so annoying.
That's exactly every time you say a movie. The Shining. I mean, everyone knows how good The Shining is. I'm glad it's up here in underneath the 50 spot. It deserves it. It's just a timeless classic of horror.
Sure
one
is.
of the best.
Moving on to number 36. Wall-E.
That's you. That's it.
The great Pixar film Wall-E from 2008 from Andrew Stanton, which I absolutely adore. We talked about this in our top comedies of the 2000s, I believe.
Put it at number 2.
Put it at number 2. It deserved to be there. It is very funny. It's very heartwarming. Scary reminiscent of what the future of humanity is heading in for a direction.
Kind of right now, too.
Kind of where we're currently at.
Yeah.
Scary stuff, but I adore Wall-E. He's so cute, but the filmmaking's great.
The filmmaking is even better in Prisoner of Azkaban, the third Harry Potter film from Alfonso Cuarón. Really dynamic cinematography, production design. I love the gothic blue atmosphere. We really had so much fun with Sirius Black, the Dementors, and the Bogart. Lupin is phenomenal. There's so many great additions in Azkaban that really expanded on the world. Peter Pettigrew. It's one of the great mystery villains of Sirius Black, and I love this movie. Everyone loves this movie. It's probably the most common favorite Potter film. It's best looking, best made, best directed for sure.
You could argue that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the best blockbuster made of the 21st century.
You can make that argument.
You could make it. It's so well made, so well crafted. It set the franchise in such a great direction after the great films from Chris Columbus. But what Cuarón did specifically with this film, making it modernized, hipper, cooler, adding a little edge and a lot more personality with great filmmaking. Man, blockbuster movies, what their potential, what they can be, is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on to number 34. We have another Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes! Is it number 1?
The Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live.
Is this the most popular one? Yes. I hope
No, we're not done yet.
No, but for Potters.
We're not done yet. We're only at 34 on the list, man. I guarantee there's another one on there.
All right, we'll
I mean,
see.
I bet you Half-Blood's on there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Sorcerer's Stone, I just watched it for the 47th time the other day for Thanksgiving night. It's amazing. It's magical, obviously, pun intended.
And does Mr. Harry Potter
The music,
have
the characters. It's just a phenomenal film. It's incredible what Chris Columbus and his team did creating this world that no one thought really possible. And it's so enjoyable.
It's the perfect way to start the franchise.
Yeah.
It was great. Couldn't have been better. Really couldn't have been. All right, next up at number 33, we have Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds' first outing as the now fan favorite character. Everybody loves Deadpool.
That's who replaced She-Hulk on the banner. Deadpool.
Deadpool replaced her.
On Marvel's banner.
Interesting. He's a starter now.
Yeah. He made the lineup.
After $1 billion, he's a starter now. Hugely successful, unexpected, gigantic hit at the box office, grossing over $600 million as a rated R comic book movie. Nobody saw it coming. Reynolds was perfect casting, spearheading the film, making it true to the Deadpool that fans love and desire to see on screen. And he and his team, Miller, made this. Overall, it's a great movie. It's a really fun time. Really, really fun.
Let's move on to number 32, and we have Oppenheimer from Christopher Nolan, 2023, a masterpiece this century. We did an awesome 3-hour episode on this film.
We dressed up, too.
It's a really special movie. Barbenheimer was a special time. I'm sure we'll see Barbie on here, too, at some points. But Oppenheimer, arguably Chris Nolan's best film. It's an incredible achievement in filmmaking in all aspects of the craft. I mean,
Deserved all of its awards.
Yeah, it's Oppenheimer, kid.
Yeah. Fucking Oppenheimer guy.
Yeah.
At number 31, we have Black Panther. Ryan Coogler's first outing in the Black Panther franchise.
You're doing the thing.
Yeah, this is what you've done to me, man. You've turned me into yourself. An overzealous,
Black Panther!
An overzealous movie lover. This is a solid movie, one of the best MCU movies. Chadwick Boseman's amazing. Michael B. Jordan was great as the villain. The world building is phenomenal and was really fresh and exciting for the MCU.
We're at number 30 now. Let's see what it is. Number 30 is Titanic from James Cameron, 1997. He took 12 years in between movies because he went Titanic, 97, then Avatar in 2009. That's how long of a gap there was in between his films. And Titanic was a sensation. It's one of the biggest movies of all time, still is. It's this incredible romance on this massive tragedy. And Leonardo DiCaprio became the hottest star ever, probably in history of Hollywood. You could argue at that age. Still is, but I mean, the guy was so big. It was like Jesus. He was so loved.
Leo DiCaprio, Christ.
Leo DiCaprio,
Leo
Christ. Holy crap. Kate Winslet was phenomenal as well. But I mean, it's Titanic. I want to revisit this movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but I just know that the filmmaking is incredible. But I probably haven't watched it in over 10 years. I want to watch it just because I've grown so used to analyzing movies so well and really looking at them to dissect them from a filmmaking standpoint that I really want to watch this.
You haven't watched it as a cinephile.
Exactly.
Well done. Well done. At number 29, we have American Psycho. I love American Psycho. That's all. I have to return some videotape.
It's great, man.
It's the best.
It's obviously getting remade, as we know.
But at least it's Luca. At least it's Luca.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't see how you can top this, though. It's perfect.
It sure is. Let's move on to number 28. We have Spirited Away, our first Miyazaki film, and again, another animated film. We've had quite a few on this list so far. Miyazaki's Spirited Away is arguably his best film. It's adored. It's loved. It's so creative, sensational. Love the characters, the colors, the aesthetic. Really special filmmaker. Spirited Away. It's the juice, man.
At number 27, we have another Spider-Man movie, In No Way Home, which actually, now that I think about it, is my favorite of the Tom Holland trilogy.
Probably. I mean, yeah,
Just
it's got
having,
all three. It's got all
yeah,
three.
Having them all in it, super fun.
It's almost unfair though.
It's like a cheat code.
Yeah, it's got Doc Ock. It's got Electro. It has Green Goblin. I mean, how can it not be the best Tom Holland movie?
Yeah, it's great. And just, I mean, it's worth the price of admission just for Holland, Garfield, and Maguire to be on screen together. It was great. They did a good job with it. It was really fun.
It was so emotional.
Yeah, it was.
I was really surprised how emotional this film made me and how emotional it got, especially, not just with what happened to Garfield and him dealing with the death of Gwen and still feeling that, but also with Tom Holland's character, his Peter Parker, and what happened to Aunt May and him dealing with that and trying to fight between getting vengeance versus getting justice, and then obviously losing MJ at the end of the film was such a heartbreaking moment. That killed me in the theater.
Yeah.
Well,
she's still around.
But he lost her.
Yeah, but she's coming back.
She doesn't remember him.
She'll remember him eventually.
So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. Moving on to number 26. We have from Ari Aster.
There you go, man.
Midsummer. His excellent horror film starring Florence Pugh, who is the May Queen, iconically in this film. Great horror film because it takes place 90% in daylight, and it's phenomenal. It's tough to do that, to keep the audience engaged, terrified, and on the edge of their seats, I think, with a horror. And I think it's just because the story's so well done, so well written. The aesthetic is really unique. Obviously, it's very similar to The Wicker Man, so you can say it's a contemporary version of that. And Florence Pugh just really carries this movie so well on her shoulders. She goes through hell in this movie. The emotional range on her is phenomenal. I think that's one of Ari's great strengths is casting, and Toni Collette in Hereditary, Florence Pugh in Midsummer. Incredible actresses, incredible lead performances in a genre that's tough to nail.
It's also surprisingly way more popular than Hereditary.
Yeah.
1 million more logs.
Really?
1 million more watches on Letterboxd than Hereditary.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's been memified so much.
Also, but it was a Prime. It came out on Prime.
In theaters.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was in theaters, obviously, but it was on Prime forever.
Yeah.
So I think that's how a lot of people watched it.
But I think it's just, again, I think it's a lot to do with how much it's memed, and it's very popular, I think, between men and women. And I think it's just a great flick.
You know what else is a great flick?
What?
At number 25, we have Dune, Part 1. It was a perfect book adaptation. Great start to the franchise. Got everyone up to speed. Visually, so impressive and remarkable. And seeing what Denis and his team had in mind for their vision of the world of Dune and Arrakis was just breathtaking. Phenomenal piece of work.
Phenomenal. Let's move on to number 24. We have Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. All right, MCU still holding strong in this list. The first film in the MCU from James Gunn. This was quite fun when it came out. As you talk about often, you always say how Guardians was a great way for the MCU to expand to other galaxies and really open up the potential and scope of the world that Marvel had created with this world, with their films. And after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, it proved that pretty much anything is possible in the MCU. Cinematically, you can tell a story with any character because no one had ever most people had never heard of any of these characters. I for sure didn't. I had no idea what the fuck the Guardians of the Galaxy was.
Nope.
I didn't even know it existed. But the movie was amazing. It was so fun. And it still had those great moments of, like you said, James Gunn brings great humor, brings great emotionality, tears at your heartstrings. And Peter Quill with Chris Pratt was just such a fun lead to bring into the MCU. And I love the first film. It's so good.
At number 23, we have Matt Reeves' The Batman, which was a really fun new take on the famous character and on Gotham. Everybody loved this movie. It was fantastic. It was such a delight to see on the big screen in IMAX, and sounded great, looked amazing. Greg Fraser fucking crushed it awesome score from Giacchino. I love Pattinson as Batman and Bruce Wayne. And after The Penguin and with the anticipation building off from the first film, I am really excited for Batman Part 2. I can't wait.
Me too, and I hope he still stays away from the Joker.
And what I want is more narration.
I want a ton of voiceover.
I want more narration because it was so great in the first act.
Yeah.
I would really love to hear more narration.
I agree.
I like being in Batman's head.
Let's go to number 22. We have Everything Everywhere All at Once, directed by the Daniels, Scheinert and Kwan. 2022 was the big movie of the year, the Oscar darling, the winner of 7 Academy Awards, I believe. So unique and original and really quite fun.
Another quite fun. It made me cry. It made me laugh my ass off, and great fight scenes, and it was just a fun as hell sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Next up at number 21, we have Damien Chazelle. Damien Chazelle. I almost call him Damien Chevelle.
Chevy Chevelle.
Whiplash, his debut film, which is a resounding classic, and what an amazing movie to start out with. 2 fantastic leads from Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, who won the Oscar, obviously. This is still my favorite Chazelle movie. I think it's a special film, and it is from start to finish absolute perfection.
We covered it like 4 or 5 months ago. It was an awesome episode.
We covered it real hard.
Real hard. Number 20, we have Up from Pete Docter again in Pixar. What a sad, emotional film. A film that's important because it helps kids and parents and all kinds of people of different ages deal with grief and loss. It's important to obviously show younger generations what loss is. And I think this film is a great way to not shelter kids from death, by killing the love of our guy's life early in the film.
Killing her?
What?
She just died naturally, bro.
Carl's wife was...
By murdering her.
Murdered.
She died of old age.
When she was murdered.
Oh, my God. They fucking took her life away.
When they gutted her. And we have Carl, who still has a lot of life to live. He gets motivated.
Decides to seek vengeance for his wife's murder.
Gets motivated to keep living his life and not to just shut down and wait for death. To get out there and live.
It's quite fun.
It's quite fun.
All right, number 19, we have one of the best Marvel movies of all time, and it's going to be really hard to top this one. Avengers Endgame from the Russo brothers. They were the right directors to hire for the Secret Wars and for Doomsday because, holy shit, they pulled it off with both Infinity War and Endgame. Both were just delights, and Endgame was such an incredible capper to the 15 years of Marvel movies. Wait, no, not 15 years. 10 years of Marvel movies. And
11 years.
Yeah, whatever. However many years it was like 20 movies though, and it was phenomenal. I mean, it was just like everybody saw it. 2019 was the fucking biggest year ever for cinema.
Yeah, I went with like 8 people to see that movie at least.
Nice.
It was like a big thing to like go with a bunch of friends and see it like this event movie.
And theaters were fucking packed. It was hard. It was like this is like the event spectacle that something like this past weekend was with Wicked Gladiator and Moana 2. Like everybody wants to go see these movies.
What's insane is this made even more money by itself because Gladiator 2, Moana 2, and Wicked made $425 million domestic, but Infinity War and Endgame made even more.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Not domestic.
Are you sure?
Yeah. International. So globally, Avengers Endgame made $600 million in its first weekend.
That's a lot.
But it made like $350 domestic.
Let me double check those numbers.
Go ahead.
I'm curious.
Check away.
Let me see.
Double check those. Avengers Endgame domestic opening weekend.
Avengers Endgame domestic opening weekend. 650 million.
That's global.
No, it's North America, 3 U.S. and Canada.
That's domestic?
Yeah, I'm right here on Wikipedia.
Let me see.
It made 1.2 billion in the opening weekend.
What?
Yeah, it broke $1 billion in the opening weekend.
How is that possible?
That was what don't you remember?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I knew they broke $1 billion each in the opening weekends. Those movies made like $2.6 billion total, man.
Its domestic market set records. Wow. Holy smokes. Wait, is
It's real.
that real?
Yeah, man.
What?
That's what I was trying to say. Man.
What? Hold on. Let me just double check this.
You really don't believe this?
No, I'm just having trouble.
Because it's insane. That's why. I get it. I understand.
I'm just like I think it was the fastest. So hold on. Okay, here we go. No, yeah, I'm right. It was just the fastest to 650 million. It made 150 million its first day, 100 million in its second day, and 90 million its third day of release.
Okay, you're right.
Thank you. 650 million is fucking impossible.
Pretty cool. $2.8 billion.
I think it made 650 million in its first week of release. But yeah, it made 350 opening weekend.
Anyways, moving on.
You're like, you don't trust this? You don't trust me?
I never said those words.
James is like, it made $6 billion opening weekend in America.
First day. Everyone on Earth saw it.
Even for Endgame, that's impossible.
Number 18 on our list of the most popular films, we have Inside Out. Another Pete Docter film. This guy's a legend. 2015 Inside Out came out. And it's a sensational film. It's very cute. And the sequel was obviously such a huge hit. They have a spin-off show coming out, or is it a spin-off movie? But man, Pete Docter, he's
Killing
made
it.
so many Monsters, Inc., Soul, Up, Inside Out.
He's
what
the
a filmmaker.
king of Pixar.
Incredibles. He
I
didn't
have
direct, but
I have never seen either Inside Out movie.
the first one's really good. It's very cute.
Never seen it.
It's very cute.
I'm sure everyone says it's great. Maybe I should watch it sometime. I also want to watch How to Train Your Dragon.
I thought you'd seen it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, I thought you did.
Never seen it.
We should do that trilogy. That'd be a banger.
I think we should do that soon. I think we should. We'll do Django and then we'll do How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, yeah. And I want to do Casino Royale.
Ooh, yeah, nice. All right, next up at number 17 is Avengers Infinity War. Possibly the greatest MCU movie so far. It's up there, top 3 easily. And I would say it's slightly better than Endgame, but Endgame was a really good conclusion. But Infinity War is like, it's kind of like, I always thought of Empire Strikes Back when I saw that movie. Just like the pacing, the great character work, the great spectacle, incredibly strong story, and a wonderful ending where the heroes fail. Thanos, and I look at Infinity War as Thanos is the lead character. Like the Infinity War, he's the protagonist. And in Endgame, the Avengers are the protagonist, essentially. Because the movie opens and starts with Thanos. Opening scene and final scene. And it's really his arc that we're seeing throughout the course of the film and his perspective of things.
Bro, when he bodied Hulk, whew.
Yeah. I think everyone was like, oh, fuck, what? Holy shit, this is crazy. But yeah, phenomenal movie.
Moving on to number, where are we at?
16.
16. We have Martin Scorsese's back. We have The Wolf of Wall Street. Hell yeah.
I'm not fucking leaving.
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill. Hysterical. The most like Goodfellas that Scorsese's made when it comes to film. It's insanely entertaining. Laugh out loud. Highly quotable.
We quote it all the time.
I think it's just going to be, for me, a top 5 Scorsese movie going forward for the rest forever.
Fun coupons.
Fun coupons, what I call them.
At number 15, we have Ratatouille, my favorite Pixar movie. Great. I love
Oh, so cute. Ratatouille.
I love Ratatouille. I love Ratatouille.
You just got so bouncy.
I love food. I love being in a different country. I love the music. Yeah, Remy's great. This is the best. It's so fun.
It is a delight. Moving on to number 14. We have the Best Picture winner that beat The Shawshank Redemption and Pulp Fiction. Forrest Gump from Bob Zemeckis,
Bob.
as Anthony calls him.
Bob.
Just an American classic right here. Insanely fun, highly entertaining, great character of Forrest Gump. One of I think one of the most beloved characters created in cinema. And this is a movie that, you grew up watching. It's on TV a lot. It's part of our culture. It's still relevant. It's timeless as hell.
It's nice to see that it's still so low on this list.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's just one of those movies that everyone's seen.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're heading into now, is movies that everyone's seen.
And at number 13, we have Knives Out, Ryan Johnson's first Benoit Blanc
Did you
film.
almost say Ryan's Johnson?
Ryan's Johnson. I love Knives Out. Everyone likes Knives Out. And you can see why they greenlit a whole franchise because of how watched this movie is. It's a great murder mystery. I love it. Murder mystery is a timeless kind of tale and genre.
I agree. I think this one's way more superior than the original.
Way more superior.
A lot more superior.
A lot more superior. Was that your correction?
Very much superior.
Just say superior.
Insanely
Superior is enough.
Insanely superior.
Way more superior to a lot more superior to much more superior.
To insanely superior.
Superior does the job for you.
Superior.
It's all you need, man. It's all you need.
Listen, man. I just want to talk about number 12 on our list right now. The Truman Show. The wonderful film from Peter Ware all the way down under in Australia, mate. Jim Carrey's best performance, I think, as Truman. This young guy whose entire life he's lived on a TV show and he has no idea. It's a brilliant, brilliant screenplay. Such a genius idea for a film. Very meta in that way. So
it's gotta
funny.
be one of the best original screenplays.
It's up there, man.
In a long time.
I think this is just a magical film. There have been like a handful of magical movies on this list, and this is up there.
Yeah.
That don't have fantasy elements, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very relevant, too. Next up at number 11 is the first musical on this list, and the only one, La La Land from Chazelle. Magnificent musical led by two of the most beloved stars of their time, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Great filmmaking, fantastic cinematography and production design, wonderful songs, dynamite score from Justin Hurwitz. And I hope that anyone who really pulls from this movie and likes this movie, that it leads them to older musicals because they're just as good. And I think that this is like the musical for the young generation, and it like defines the idea of what a musical is. That's how impactful it is.
Luca Guadagnino hates it.
He hates it. What did he say?
He got. There's an interview that was released recently of him being asked about modern movies, and they kept listing movies and he didn't like La La Land.
We're getting into a lot of Nolan territory.
10 on our list.
So we're in the top 10, and you've been waiting for Chris Nolan.
Number 10 makes me happy because this is a movie that Chris Nolan made halfway through his filmography that I feel like people forgot about how amazing and astounding it was. And I'm talking about Inception. This was a groundbreaking movie. Some of the most impressive and unique visuals we've ever seen in live action film captured for this movie. An incredible plot, phenomenal performances from these great ensembles, and just remarkable practical filmmaking on a scale that, only Christopher Nolan does outside of Ridley Scott, really. And I think it was so impressive, and this movie lived rent-free in my head for years.
Yeah, man.
Years and years, I was obsessed with Inception.
This was my favorite movie for years.
Yeah. And I think until Interstellar came out, I was like, okay, I think this is my new favorite. But Inception's a special film. I'm so happy to see it so high at number 10 on this list.
And we call Chris Nolan the most influential director of the century, and you'll know why when we get through the rest of this list.
Oh, you're already taking peeks?
Yeah, I got it on my screen.
Sneaking looks?
At number 9, we have Pulp Fiction, directed by Christopher Nolan. Just kidding. Tarantino's changed the game with Pulp Fiction. No one had ever done anything like it in filmmaking. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. He won co-writer original screenplay with his co-writer. These are what makes Tarantino movies so special. How memorable the characters are, and this film is filled with some of his most iconic characters he's ever created. So many great sequences, so many great moments. It's hard to even pick your favorite bits because every chapter is so unique and wonderful. And we all know Pulp Fiction is just one of the greatest films to ever be made.
Number 8, we have Get Out from Jordan Peele. What a great pick to get up there. One of the best horror movies made the last 10 years. And I think it's going to be an insanely influential movie going forward. I know we were talking about Scary Movie 6 is going to get made, and they're going to go into pre-production soon. And we were discussing what movie would you set as a base, and I think Get Out would be the best base to use for your Scary Movie going forward, and then picking from other horror movies. But I think Get Out is just insanely original, insanely unique. What a huge hit and success this was. Word of mouth, this movie caught fire. This was a phenomenon. $3 million budget, grossing $300 million. Jordan Peele, a gem of a director now, and Get Out is just a sensational first film.
At number 7, we have a sensational animated film with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. My favorite of the animated two. This is a really great entry, and for people like us who don't know much about Spider-Man comics or Miles Morales, or we never read them, it was a great introduction to Miles Morales for me. I love the character. I love his story. The animation, obviously, is so sensational, and it's full of spectacle and wonderment, and it's really a very emotional story. It has a lot of powerful, great resonance and great conflict and amazing twist with who the villain is and him versus Kingpin. I love it. And Nick, what's his name? Jake Johnson. I call him Nick because that's his name in New Girl. Jake Johnson is great as the Spider-Man past his prime. Chris Pine is the best version of Spider-Man in the opening. There's a lot to this movie that I just really love and adore. It's a sensational film.
All right, moving on to number 6, we have from Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight, which I can't wait for when I'm an old man and this is still people's favorite movie and people are still talking about it and I'm still watching it because it is hands down the best Batman movie ever made. I don't think it'll ever be topped. The Batman, I think, was really great. It came pretty close. Same ballpark, but The Dark Knight's a special movie. Christopher Nolan's an absolute genius.
And a G.
We haven't done solo episodes on the Batman movies, which we have to do with the Dark Knight ones. We did a Dark Knight trilogy episode in 2020, 2021.
Yes. Maybe we'll spend a lot of time with Dark Knights in December.
Or 2025. You know, I see us in 2025 doing solo episodes on the Batman movies.
Yes.
I see a cab ride. Get out of the sticks, boys. Pulp Fiction. It's your future.
It's a cab ride.
The Dark Knight, it's special. Heath Ledger's the Joker. And, yeah, you know, you've all seen this movie 40 times just like us.
You've also seen Interstellar 40 times at number 5, back-to-back Chris Nolan. And we are so excited for the re-release in IMAX, which we're seeing this week. Hopefully you got tickets as well because they sold out fast, but they were so successful that they opened up new screenings because IMAX is like, oh, man, we weren't even ready for this kind of outpouring of excitement. So there's a reason why the re-release is going to be so huge, and the movie was special. It's one of those movies where when you saw it for the first time in IMAX, it was just mind-blowing and otherworldly, and it's such a wonderful piece of work, and really one of the best science fiction films of the century. Yeah.
Let's move on to number 4. We have Parasite from Bong Joon-ho. Did I say Ho?
You said Ho.
Bong Joon-ho, an absolute masterpiece of screenwriting. This is one of the best scripts of the century, hands down. It's phenomenal. It's funny. It's clever as hell. It's sharp as a whip and entertaining. The characters are great. Parasite came out in 2019. It's the last time he made a feature-length film. Wow. And obviously we have Mickey 17 coming out next year in April. Cannot wait to see Bong Joon-ho make his biggest movie yet. But Parasite, same thing with Get Out. It was a word-of-mouth phenomenon. Everyone was like, you have to see this movie. You have to see this movie. Critical darling. Several Academy Awards. And Bong Joon-ho is just one of the most exciting filmmakers alive right now. And I think one of my favorite parts about his Oscar win was thanking Martin Scorsese and having like an ovation and an applause for Martin because he recognizes the influence of great filmmakers. And, you know, I think Bond seems like a really smart guy, and I think he's going to have one of the best careers ever once he's done.
Best movie on this list, in my opinion. Best.
Whoa.
Next up at number 3, we have Barbie, the more popular of the Barbenheimer phenomenon.
You're getting more into the screaming titles than me, man.
Look what you've done. You've created a monster.
Next up, we have Barbie!
4.38 million logs on Letterboxd. So Parasite was the first to 4 million, but then Barbie and 2 other films now have overtaken it. But Barbie was so much better than I thought it was going to be. It was a really fun time. I let loose and just, laughed my butt off, cried a little bit.
Dressed up in it.
Dressed up. It was very sweet. But, it was way better than I ever expected.
Number 2, David Fincher, baby. We have Fight Club. I love to see this on this list this high at number 2, man.
Wow.
I think it's probably my favorite Fincher movie. I think Seven's his best made movie, but Fight Club I think is my favorite. That's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done as well. We did like 3 hours on this movie.
Fucking epic.
There was so much to talk about because there's so much beneath the surface of this film. People always look at it and just think, oh, it's this, it's that, but they refuse to just
Why do you refuse?
Open up the layers and see what the movie's really saying. It says a lot about our contemporary lives, about culture. It's a big analysis on culture these days. And I think Fincher's an absolute genius, and this movie is just so fucking good.
It'll always be a timeless classic forever. Absolutely. And then at number 1 on the Letterboxd most popular films is no surprise because of a film that came out this year. Everybody rewatched this movie to get ready for it, and that's Joker. So Joker has the number 1 spot for most watched movies on Letterboxd with an astounding 4.4 million watches.
I can hear people screaming.
About what?
Being upset about that.
Oh,
Not listeners, but people who see that probably because...
I think everyone likes Joker.
No, but I know that tide has changed because of Joker 2.
Oh, gotcha. Joker was brilliant, man. And man, nobody saw that coming. It was $1 billion, rated R, and such a cool take on the Joker. Something we had never seen before. Something that was so unexpected and unique. And the filmmaking, the performance from Joaquin, the great cinematography, great production, really cool, incredible score from Hildur. She won an Oscar for it. Todd Phillips did something really special, and it clearly resonated around the world with how successful and adored it is, with high ratings all across the board from critics and audiences alike. I think that it was like the third act of this movie is just like unbelievable on another level, and it's crazy. He like got away with something crazy by making such a graphic and intense and captivating comic book movie.
It's like he robbed a bank and
and he got paid for it too. It's I think it's a really incredible crowning achievement in the genre, and it will live the test of time for sure.
I like Joker too.
So do I.
He's a cool guy. It was nice to chat with him. I was very lucky.
And we didn't like it because we talked to him, like some people think.
Yeah, you should see the comments we were getting.
Oh, I saw them.
It was rough, man.
Yeah, I had to delete my Letterboxd review because every day I was getting hate comments on it.
We liked Joker 2 before everyone else saw it and before everyone jumped on a bandwagon of hate.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing: like, if you don't like it, that's totally fine. If you don't like it, I don't care. And I don't care if you like something I don't like.
We've been getting shit for liking Gladiator 2. It's insane. That's been blowing my hair back.
Yeah, man.
And surprised that people are getting upset that we liked Gladiator 2. People are calling us shills, calling us trash.
I'm sorry. I like to have a good time when I watch a movie set in ancient Rome. Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I like to just sometimes enjoy a movie.
We're lucky that we get movies in
I think
general.
that we've a lot of people have just become so overly critical. Like, I mean, it's just a movie.
Let it go.
It's just a movie.
Nothing you can do about
It's
it.
just a movie.
It's not real, guys.
Yeah.
It's not real. But this episode is real.
Bet your ass it is.
It was real cool.
That was a cool list. I liked it. There were some unexpected ones that I didn't see coming, and I'm glad that there's something like Shawshank is so loved on an app like this, which is clearly a younger app, but still, that movie has. I think that's a movie that Fight Club's the same thing, that it will transcend generations. Those kinds of movies.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, we love Letterboxd.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the 100 most watched movies on Letterboxd. Take care, everyone.
See you next time.
This episode was brought to you by our chosen one patrons, Jacob Kostler and Nicholas Martin. Thanks so much, boys. Raiders of the Lost Podcast is a mirror image production. Sound mixing done by Jacob Kostler. Opening music by Chase Jackson.